There must be an atmospheric anomaly, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Millionth Show. My name is James, joined once again by Henry and Tom. And today we are talking about the much anticipated episode in our series for The Living Daylights, released in 1987. So I got that right, right? Yeah, it must have been. Yeah, 1987. So this is a brand new Bond we have. Finally, a young, fresh face. I think we'd all got a bit tired of Roger Moore and Sean Connery by the end there. And Henry, I'm gonna pass it off straight to you because this is your favourite Bond actor and film, I believe.
Well,
Or
this is
maybe
my
not
favorite
film, but
Bond film.
close.
This is definitely up there for me. And just upon rewatching this, it just confirmed my opinions. Um, I honestly feel even more than George Lazenby, like Dalton's Bond film, his films, like the two of them, and he himself as Bond are like probably the most like slept on or like just not talked about in general. Because even with George Lazenby, it's kind of like, oh, it's like kind of fun to talk about because he was just that one guy who did it once,
Yeah.
and his film is still quite well remembered because of Bond gets married, his wife gets shot, that sort of thing. You know,
Spoilers.
yeah, spoilers for a film that came out like nearly 50 years ago. So
Well, we're just not spoiling films we haven't reviewed yet. If
yeah.
you haven't listened to that review, you can go back now and listen to it, or you already have, so you're here. So
Exactly. So, of course. Um, Gotta say though, this is I as a kid, I would sometimes I'd see this, but it was like I didn't understand it. It would be boring to me. But now, like now that I'm all like now that I'm older, this is literally like kind of this is the last kind of Bond film that was made like in a proper Cold War setting, which is like I mean, of course, you have Goldeneye, which is set in a lot of Russia, but that's after the Cold War, so it doesn't really, it's not really the same. I think it's a shame they didn't make another one before the USSR fell, but that's too bad. So, also, how do you feel about this, Tom and James?
for me, The Living Daylights has always been an interesting one. I have a really complex relationship with this film because I've always liked it. This used to be one of my favorites, definitely when I was younger. And then it became a film that I remembered as being better than when I actually sit down and watch it. It's like evolved. So I used to be like, yeah, this is one of my favorites, and then I'd watch it and I'd be like, I don't really remember why this is one of my favorites. But then I would go back and then the memory of it was always better than the reality, right? And then I watched it one time years ago and I got disillusioned. I just watched it and I was like, nah, there's something about it that I didn't like. So I hadn't actually watched it before this week. I hadn't watched it for a really long time compared to most of these Bond films. I've probably maybe watched it once since when I did that marathon in 2016. So watching it this week, I felt the best way I could put this is like, in Jeremy Clarkson on Top Gear, when he used to be on Top Gear, when he would review a car which he really liked, and he had only good things to say about it. But then at the end of the review, they had to tag on a bit where he just sort of goes, "But there's just something missing. There's something that
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah, the
feel
music
right."
stopped
That's
kind
like
of.
me with this film, with The Living Daylights. There's just something about it that's just holding it back from becoming like propelling it to being like an all-time Bond film. I think probably it's the villain, like a lack of a really good villain,
We'll
but
get into that for
I
sure,
think
but
there's so much they did right with this film. It's just tonally so perfect, and it really ticks all the boxes for everything I really want in a Bond film. But I think it's just lacking a really big villain presence, someone that's worthy of Timothy Dalton, like, but that matches him well in that sense. You know what I mean? And I
yeah.
don't know who that could be either. He never really got a villain like that. I'm trying to think of an
You certainly
example of
get a
a Bond
good one
villain.
in the next film, I think.
Yeah, but I'm trying to think of a Bond villain or any actor really that would be a good person to play
So I was
opposite
saying, man,
Timothy
like
Dalton. It's quite
would have
difficult to
been
do because he's
like I
such an
was
old
saying,
school Shakespearean actor. He just brings something completely different to the table compared to all the other Bond actors. But anyway, I've said enough. I'll hand it over
yeah.
to Tom now. What do you think of Living Daylights?
This film is probably the Bond film that I feel most undecided on, like unable to make my mind up on it really. Like
Yeah.
I there's things I really like about it. In fact, two aspects of it which I think are the best in or at least my favorite in of all the Bond films. And that's the Bond car, which is my favorite Bond car. And
Really?
Yeah, don't
yeah,
remember.
and I love the music as well. Like the song, I think the best might go to like the one that's the most hype is like "With You to a Kill," but like for me, but I think the overall soundtrack of this film is like the best. Like there's no
Mm.
weak one of it at all. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, this all the next film was John Barry's last like
Yes. No,
Yeah,
this
this
was
was
John Barry's last Bond film. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
apparently it's because he found Aha so like difficult to work with. He actually ended up like that's kind of like it was like the end of it for him. He's like,
Who
I'm
did he
done with
find it
that.
difficult to work with?
Aha.
Yeah, Aha, the people who
Oh,
made
yeah, I read about that. What's fascinating for me with this film, I learned a lot about this film in the last 2 days. I watched it on Thursday. We're recording on a Saturday. And this will come out on a Sunday. But um, I didn't realize that this film effectively has three main titles, right? Obviously, The Living
yeah.
Daylights by Aha is the the front runner, right? That's the one that gets all the headlines. But they actually effectively wrote three actual
Well, the other
songs
two
for
are
this film. One of
yeah.
them is like in universe, which is so cool. That's a concept which doesn't get done a lot to my memory. I can think of maybe two good examples. One of them would be in Batman '89, Henry, when
Oh yeah,
you've got the Prince music.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But that's a little bit like that is in universe music, but it's also
It's by a
it's
celebrity, so you know.
no, it's not the fact that it's by celebrity, but
But
because it's weird. You know, when you have a soundtrack for a song, another example would be Scarface, which came out around the same time as this film. That has music, that has like actual song in it, but it's part of the soundtrack specifically. It's not like Tony Montana sat there listening to it himself in the film in
yeah,
that universe. So it's not done very often. Obviously, in Captain Scarlet with TVR 187, I think they
yeah,
have
so,
they have an in-universe pop song, and then in this film they have that as well. And then there's like a third one, which is the romantic score in this. I forget the name now.
oh, if there was a
If
man.
there was a man.
Yeah, which is beautiful as well. The
Yeah,
music, like I said, Tom, is John Barry blew it out of the park on this film. I
yeah,
mean,
the last two, yeah, were both done by the Pretenders, I think. So 'cause it's strange, really, the fact they had two kind of like groups doing the music for this.
yeah,
Obviously, like for songs. I don't know if that was done before, but like as in, I don't
I'm not
know.
sure. I don't think so.
Yeah,
It's
I
very
might.
interesting because and this is the first Bond film actually. Since you mentioned it, this is the first Bond film that the end credits went on had a different song to the pre-credits, right?
Yeah,
Hmm.
It's the first time in a Bond film that's happened, and I
yeah,
think
not
the
the
only
last
time
time
as
though.
well, maybe.
No,
No, it
there is
happens in
Tomorrow Never
License to
Dies.
Kill.
Oh yeah, No Time
License to
to
Kill
Die
as
as well.
well. Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, well, this is the first time that happened.
Yeah,
So yeah, and let's talk about Timothy Dalton, or should we save that sort of for like when we get into the film?
yeah. Wait, we'll do that when we get into his rankings as well. So
Yeah. But yeah, I know Henry's very strong going into this film. Like, is one of, and I
and
think I'm very much with Tom in like I say, I've got really complex feelings about this film. I can't, I've never really had a clear, like, really clear, like, I could never give this film a rating out of 10. It's very difficult, for example. I don't know, it's really good, but like I say, it's just there's something missing. But anyway,
yeah,
let's get
this
into it,
yeah.
and we can dissect it as we go along. So we open up with one of the best openings for a Bond film ever. This
Yeah.
really sets the tone,
I
man.
also gotta say I love the gun barrel of this one too, like the orchestral kind of score for it. Because every gun barrel is different, but
Yeah, that's true.
I think Dalton's two ones kind of stand out, especially the License to Kill one.
That's an interesting one. I mean, okay, so this is this scene in Gibraltar, which is the opening, right?
Mm.
Gibraltar is ours. Gibraltar is ours. We've got a really interesting moment. Now, I remember watching this for the first time. I can't remember how old I was, but I remember watching this
I remember when
specific
we
scene. And I
first
remember the
watched
rest of
it.
the
Yeah,
film for the first time.
they've got three double O agents like
Yeah,
plus
you got three double O
SAS.
agents, but they deliberately tricked the cinema goer or the first time viewer into the fact that okay, you don't know who actually Bond is this time. You know it's not Roger Moore, or Sean Connery. So you've got like three faces, three guys jump out of this plane, which is an
Yeah.
incredible stunt. And they get a briefing from M, which is just so it really builds the universe a bit, I think.
Yeah.
And
I love how he has like an office in the back of his plane as well.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, that's right. And
office is part of
so they all
him.
jump out, and then you get and it's throwing you red herrings. I remember the first time watching this when I was a kid. I didn't know who Bond was. I thought it was the first guy, and then he gets taken out, so it's not him. And then the second guy climbing up the hill, and he gets like his line cut, and you think, oh, is he going to get out of it? Maybe this is Bond, and then it's not Bond. And then he falls, and then you do see Timothy
Oh,
Dalton, and you're like,
I love
oh,
that shot of him though, because like there's no like giant red arrow pointing to me like, yeah, this is Bond, by the way. It's just like the way the camera
yeah.
frames
And
him.
at that point, you're almost like, in a weird way, even though you know that's Timothy Dalton, you're almost like, oh, is this Bond now? Are we sure now? Like, do you know what I mean? And then he actually goes on to do something Bond-esque. So then you know, okay, this is Bond. Then he introduces himself, of course, at the end of the sequence. So
Yeah, it's just like, oh yeah, this is 006, by the way, and then you
yeah,
actually get to see Bond later on in the film.
but I absolutely love this scene. This is just, and the music again, the action, the fact that, I mean, quite a breath of fresh air as well is that Timothy Dalton actually did this his own, well,
Yeah,
not his own
literally.
stunts, but he was actually, that was him.
Yeah,
It wasn't like, Roger Moore's
yeah.
dodgy stunt doubles or anything
Man,
anymore.
it's got to be like that must have been dangerous, like because I'm pretty sure this was done for real as well. Like a guy like this is like a cliff top, like you're going across the side of more or less, and like because he's chasing a guy in a jeep who's using live rounds in an actual in like meant to be a training session with the
Yeah,
SAS. Is that holding onto this jeep, man, and like I mean this guy tries like various ways of disposing of him, like shooting through the roof like stabbing. No, he doesn't try to stab him. Timothy stabs the roof. Um, you get some like I don't know, like you get some like terrorism of tourists, man. They're like trying to
mm,
steer around as well, like through the roof. And like this truck, he also picked the one jeep carrying like the entire SAS explosives, so that's always nice. Um, like one crate just goes off and like explodes later on.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Such a
mean,
cool scene. The music is so like. There's only one very small criticism I have of this entire opening, and there's a really dodgy bit of green screen just for a
yeah, I
second.
think that's all.
Split second. I think you know the one I'm talking about. It's just for a split second, and it just took me out completely. But then I'm right back in there, so
Yeah.
it's okay. I love just the small details. When he's actually in the truck, they actually drove a truck off Beachy Head, so for this stunt, and then he kicks the window at the bottom to create like a through draft going, so then the parachute can
Yeah.
actually function. It's just a little bit of like it's a small thing, but I just appreciate they took the effort to show
Yeah, to make it
get
somewhat
it physically
realistic.
possible, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Um,
I
and,
like.
and and again, it's just even small things. It's just something. I mean, because Timothy Dalton himself, I believe, is 19 years younger than Roger Moore.
Mm.
So and I don't know how old. Do you know actually how old Timothy Dalton was at the time of shooting in this film?
I think he might have been 42. I can't be sure.
42.
He must he wasn't like very young, but anything compared to Roger Moore's and
I think he
Yeah, that
was
sounds
in his
about
late
right.
30s.
Yeah, yeah, he might. I feel like he was late 30s, but I'm not
yeah,
sure.
somewhere around that ballpark.
Either way, it was just refreshing to see. For example, when he lands on the top of that
Yeah.
yacht, that boat,
Yeah, that is
and
quite a
then
funny moment, I
he's
think.
on the roof, and then he jumps down from the roof, like doing this sort of acrobatic sort of somersault off it, and it's actually Timothy Dalton doing it, and it's
Yeah.
like wow, it's like
Yeah,
my
exactly. I mean,
this
like you'd
guy
probably
actually can move, sort of thing.
yeah,
It's
it's like
almost surprising.
In a View to Kill, you probably like have more screen time of like Roger Moore's stunt doubles than him, but like I like in this like like there's a lot of stuff where it kind of somewhat grounds Bond a bit more like like it for example like his even like if you parachute out of something that then explodes your parachute is going to get ripped to shreds by debris.
Mm,
I
mm.
mean his car isn't indestructible, I mean among quite and he certainly isn't like when he fights later on, like certainly when he fights Necros, but yeah, I mean like there's a bit of like I don't know if you find this like more cheesy or just actually funny.
Mhm.
Like when he's like it cuts to like he just realizes there's like a yacht down to land on. Like the lady's like, oh, she's on the phone to me.
Yeah,
Oh, there's no like they're all just playboys and tennis stars, man. I don't know where like a real man is, and then like he just lands on the thing and just
Yeah.
fine.
No, I like that. I think that's very good. You can tell it was kind of like more, perhaps more a Roger Moore thing. But the funny thing is like Timothy Dalton. This is what is so unique about him. He's very much a business first, actual agent. You know, like
Yeah.
actual assassin.
I was gonna say
his
that.
priority is to like inform M and everything. He doesn't actually notice that there's a girl there. He actually doesn't notice. He doesn't even look at her. He just takes the phone and I'll call you back.
Yeah,
She'll call you back
only when she asks him, "Do you want to stay?" He's like,
and then he's like, "Oh, okay. Well, since I've got nothing better to do, yeah."
Yeah.
He's kind of like, "Yeah, okay." He's done his bit, so now he
it's
can.
like, "Yeah, I'll be there within an hour," and it's just
That's
like,
right. Yeah.
"Yeah, make that too." You know?
Yeah. No, I think that was perfect. I think
Yeah.
that was all very well done.
Yeah, yeah. They even managed to get the James Bond to be him introducing himself down the phone and also answering to her what his name is at the same time. So,
Yeah.
um,
What do we
I mean,
think about
after
his
that,
delivery of Bond, James Bond?
I think it makes sense in this context because he's not going to be like, "Oh yeah, Bond, James Bond," down the phone because like he's just like literally gotten out of like an exploding jeep, so he's probably like a bit like kind of like yeah, just like getting this shit over with. Like I guess it's just to be like, yeah, I'm like Bond by this point. It's not like a massive
I
surprise.
think it's the most matter of fact delivery. It's almost the most like natural delivery of Bond James in a weird way, like in a way that makes sense in like if it was happening in real life,
Yeah, that's how I feel.
because and it's the only time because I think every other Bond. I mean, you've got Sean Connery obviously and Roger Moore, or Pierce Brosnan, Daniel Craig, George Lazenby. They're all sort of strutting into a room or they're like wearing the tuxedo. They're all like prepared for the moment to say James Bond, and it's a very like big moment. Whereas here it's like Timothy Dalton says it and he's almost getting it out of the way.
Yeah, kind
He
of.
says it very early on in the film as well, and then doesn't say it again. So it's sort of like let's just get this out of the way, and then
Yeah, I feel like just because of that, the Bond's like James Bond moment is very strong. But I think overall, as an introduction to a Bond, this is very good.
yeah, it's very different, which is important, and it's good they just made that decision to set the tone straight away.
Mm.
Very important, and in a way, I think it's weird because it's so different. It's hard to say this is the best ever Bond intro for a new actor. I think it's certainly it's this or Sean Connery's, honestly.
Yeah, because I think Sean's would have to be better. I
It
mean,
has to be.
obviously,
It's just so
because
iconic.
it's like it's
All
the
the
fact.
others
I
seem
mean,
quite stiff for me,
isn't
especially Daniel Craig. Because the problem with that is, I mean, we'll get to Casino Royale eventually, and future spoilers if you haven't seen it. But it's like the whole film. Not only do they have Bond and his Bond, but also the gun barrel,
Oh my
and they
God.
save it right until the end of the film. And there's so much pressure on that moment. And Daniel Craig isn't the best when he's quite stiff in a way. So like, it, I don't know. I mean, I'm going so off track
And
here, but still,
that is
like,
one thing. There's one thing I
yeah.
would never forgive, like Eon for when they were like doing the Daniel Craig ones. They kept fucking around with the gun barrel constantly, and I'm just like, just put it at the
Yeah,
start
yeah,
of the film.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
not
That's
hard.
unforgivable, but it is what it is.
Oh, well.
Anyway, what else have we got to say about this opening?
I remember we watched it first. We were around some woman's house or something, and she just happened to have it, I think, in her Bond collection. She
Oh,
put
yeah, I
it
think
on for us, and I remember it's such a small detail, but I always find it funny, and I always remember that when I see it in this film. It's like when he grabs a phone and says, "We'll call you back." She's like, "That's extremely rude, by the way," and
Oh, it's
I
just to
don't know,
let us know that's rude. Wow.
just makes me. I don't know. It's funny for me, and I like. I also like how this woman is like really oblivious on the boat when she's like complaining how boring her life is, despite the fact that some vehicle with explosives just blew up like
That's situational irony.
30 meters above her, which is the fact that she's oblivious to it is quite funny. But yeah, other than that, nothing I can say which hasn't already been said.
Well, then we move on to the pre-credits, which is to the tune of "The Living Daylights" by Aha,
Yeah,
which we already touched upon.
yeah. I think the actual like the design of this opening credits is interesting. I think like I kind of like some of the direction they did, where it's not just what they've been doing before, if you know what I mean. But you have like the car headlight and like some stuff that's been happening. The only thing that like kind of there's like a really dated bit at the end, like where they just have like a
Oh, that blonde girl, right?
well, that,
Uh,
and also especially they just have like a dotted outline of 007, which is just like just in like cyan paint that just moves up the screen. It's like they've just figured out how to do
I
like
don't know. You pay way. I'm not paying. I never pay attention really to that unless it really stands out, like in A View to Kill. I'm more jamming to the song, you know. Now, this one in particular is again a weird one. I think this isn't as good as A View to Kill.
yeah,
Um,
but it's still
it's
very good.
still good though, but it's not like an all timer. I put it that way.
Mm.
You know,
Oh, wow,
it's like you know, if you have like quadrants, this is like in the second quadrant. You know,
maybe.
it's not
I
top
mean,
tier, but it's the one below. You know,
one thing that I
we'll rank
do
them at the end, of course.
one
But
thing
yeah.
that I do appreciate is like the fact that there's like a certain part where like you have like certain beats and they do it actually to the firing of a gun. I was like,
Yeah.
even the
Well,
actual
not
thing,
quite. Not quite.
yeah, it's not in
That
sync up
jars me a
against
little bit.
as well.
Actually, they didn't. They did the first two, and then the third one was off, and I'm like,
Yeah, I know.
especially with me having made the amount of edits that I made on the channel, which you're welcome to
Yeah,
check
man,
out.
I would
The
have just been like, just do
shorts.
another take, But
Anyway, okay. So then we're at a concert in Czechoslovakia,
yeah, in
as it was
Prague, I
known at the
think.
time. Um, and we get, you know, I mean, the first thing Timothy Dalton does, he's just like holding a big gun, you know, like
Yeah, yeah, but I love as well. Like this is
because
is it the
he
part?
arrives in a tuxedo, so you
Yeah,
get
he's
that
late
straight
to
out
the
the way.
concert
This is what
as
he's good.
well.
He's getting those things out the way early doors, okay,
Yeah,
and then he's like, he just has one piece of cloth which just turns him from like, you know, your typical Bond tuxedo to like a proper like
like
assassin,
assassin.
like cold
Yeah,
blooded, yeah.
I
In
love
just
as well
one
though.
fell swoop, in one movement, he, you know, changes it like that, which again is just something that only
Yeah,
Timothy
because
Dalton
we
can really
had
bring. I
like
mean, Sean Connery does that in reverse.
yeah, because he has like the
So
black
yeah, it's an
suit
interesting
which
play
goes
on that as
to
well, isn't it? It's
yeah,
an
and
interesting.
then Roger Moore like Live and Let Die has like the blaze he turns inside out or something.
Yeah. So they're going from formal to informal, and then Dalton does the opposite, which
He
is
goes from
actually what
formal
his
to
whole
more formal.
portrayal of Bond is doing altogether, isn't it? So that's really interesting.
I like as well though that they introduced like his not his buddy really in this, but like
Oh yeah, Saunders,
the guy
yeah.
has to work with Saunders man, who is like they introduce him as like a massive like yeah, he's like just a constant thorn in his side, He's just like, oh, you're
Incel.
late, kind of like he's going on to him about like all this stuff. It's like, oh yeah, never mind the girls Bond, or
But I
like
like Saunders because he makes it
yeah,
feels he makes it that's exactly what someone that has to work with Bond would behave like
yeah,
towards
of
him.
course,
They wouldn't be like, "Oh yeah, what's up, buddy?" You know, Jimbo and shit. You know,
yeah,
they'd be
yeah,
like, "The fuck you, you're late, mate." You know, like you're
yeah, yeah.
taking the piss. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and
So
he's like, oh, well, this is my operation. Yeah, I planned this out.
yeah, and you would totally get like political sort of guys like that looking for promotion stuff, and Bond's like, "Stuff my orders," you know, like
Yeah, yeah, I
very
love as
good.
well that where he's like, oh, yeah, I can't tell you all this stuff. It's a section 26, paragraph 2, mate. Like you
Mm.
don't know this.
And what's funny as well, I think this particular bit of dialogue is almost lifted directly from the book. It's really interesting. Like I actually read a part of the book for this, and yeah, like that bit of dialogue where Bond actually just like directly, he's like in the book, he almost said, "I don't care if this costs me my 00 license." You know, he's
Mm.
like very interesting.
Yeah, because I mean, what they essentially have to do, for those who haven't seen the film, is like there's this concert going on, as in
Well,
like a
everyone's
class.
seen the film, but
Yeah, true, but like they've got to basically get Koskov, this like KGB general, to like help him like get away from the Soviet Union so he can like defect to the West. But there's a sniper in the window, so they have to shoot her. But then Bond realizes, oh, it's a woman. Do you think he would have shot her? Like, do you think he was actually thinking about it before he realized she can't actually hold a rifle properly?
that's an interesting question.
Because he originally just goes to shoot her in the head, but then then he
Yeah,
like
then he notices like, oh yeah, she doesn't know what she's doing. Yeah, it's an interesting question. I think yeah, he probably would have. Especially it's Timothy Dalton. I think with him, we'll never know, but I think, would he shoot a woman?
He probably would. I think of all
Sean
of all-
Connery. Would Sean
Sean
Connery?
Connery. I think Sean Connery would put the rifle down, go to the place where she's just seduce her instead. Like,
Nah, Sean Connery would break her neck.
got
I
that.
don't know. Like he would like slap her about a bit first, and then I don't know. But
That first seduce later.
would Roger Moore do it? I feel like early Roger Moore would have killed the woman. He'd been like bang. He's a bit more
Roger Moore
ruthless at the beginning.
definitely wouldn't have.
At the beginning, he was more ruthless. In The Man with the Golden Gun, he would.
Yeah, but in the Man with the Golden Gun, like he was playing someone who he just wasn't. Like you can't believe it, really.
I bought it. I mean, anyway, I don't know. I think he was thinking about it. He didn't. He wasn't always not going to shoot her. Put it that way.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, so he like shoots the rifle out of her hand. He's like, "Whoops,"
but I think what most people would be confused by would be the fact, he doesn't shoot her because he's a woman, because he fancies her, and that's not the case. I think that's the important differentiation. That's the important difference to make. The fact that he doesn't do it because he fancies her, he does it because he actually sees she's not a professional.
Yeah, and she's
so
also
it's like goes against his code sort of thing.
and also it's like it makes the whole what's it called when you just looks like Costco's whole defection look a bit dodgy when it's not a real sniper trying to shoot him. So that's why she's the lead in this whole thing.
I mean, since we're on the subject as well, it's also worth pointing out, Andrew. I know there's a bit of trivia that you like to, band about. So the fact that Timothy Dalton's the only Bond actor who actually read the books before going into it, which is something even none of us have done on this podcast. So fair play to him. And anyway, I want to talk a little bit about Kara, about what's her name, Miriam Diabo. I'm not sure how to say her name, but she's a really good Bond girl, actually.
Yeah, I mean, most people hate on her, but I don't think
she's
any good reason.
She's very naive.
But that's like who she is, really.
I think that works. This is the first time it's not playing into a stereotype. It feels like actually this is her character is so fleshed out, and I think she benefits from good writing and the fact there aren't loads of women in this film. She's like the main one, and there's not really any side ones or anything. Like in A View to a Kill, you had Bond bedded four. I think it was a record. Bond bedded 4 women in that film. And there was so many others. There was even Jenny Flex and all that. It's just way too many going on. And in this film, you have the opposite. You just have one strong female character, and then she's given lots more screen time and lots more to do, and that really benefits her a lot. So she has that advantage as well.
I don't really like her, to be honest. Like
Really?
she has so many. I mean, I used to not like her even more, but like she, unfortunately for her, she has like loads of cringe lines that kind of take her out of the believability. Like when she's on the top of the Ferris wheel, for example, is this real or is it a dream? And then it's like, okay. And other moments
a lot
as
of
well.
this
It's like
for her has to be too good to be true. That's why, she was like,
Yeah, but she says things like that so often. It's like, yeah, we get it.
That's
like,
true.
Yeah,
it's a bit on the nose, isn't it? Yeah, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
I'm very generous towards it. I kind of look past those moments a little bit, because what I like is how important she is to the film. It's not like, with most Bond girls, if you take them out of the film doesn't change. The plot doesn't change really. They're just kind of like an additional, almost like a distraction, or just like, it means to have a beautiful woman on the screen. Whereas you have that here, but also she has a lot to do in the film and does genuinely play a very important role. That's really good. That's something I appreciate.
Yeah.
And also the fact that, I mean, this will go into this as the film develops, but I feel like this is the first, and maybe I'd even go as far as to say the only authentic relationship Bond has on screen, one that I believe in, other than on Her Majesty's Secret Service. I'd really buy like the romantic narrative here, because it actually
at the start
actually unfolds quite naturally, and she doesn't fall for him straight away either.
Yeah, because she's
because of Timothy Dalton as well. He's very much mission first, and then this just develops as it goes on. So
I mean, I'd agree with you on that. But this is the thing as well. This whole part isn't even over yet because like
Yes, that's right.
he misses. I like as well. It's kind of funny. They gave Dalton like the cool sniper rifle and the outfit. They gave Saunders like this like really goofy looking like headset like to wear to look like the night
Yeah.
models.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Saunders is not very like. I don't like him much at all. I think he's a bit like he's like a massive insult when he doesn't kill Kara, and then he's like later like they try and shoehorn like some really artificial like forgive the word, but bonding between him and James Bond. And it's just like just doesn't feel. It's not like authentic at all. It's like
yeah, I think it. I
it's
mean,
I
they
know. I
both.
think. I think that. I think you're not supposed to like Saunders at the beginning. You're supposed to think he's an
yeah, but
asshole
not at all though. Like because later he just
Yeah, but
at
this
the
is
later
beginning.
actually
But I
working
think
for them or something.
again their relationship. I buy their kind of grudging respect for each other. And that's what connects them by the end.
Yeah, I think
They
the
have
fact
like
that
a mutual respect for each other, very grudging, but they're like, okay,
yeah,
they trust
I,
each other basically.
he's at his most like kind of jarring here because he's like this is his kind of mission. Like he set this up, and then Bond's like just like taking it for a spin. Like he's probably like he probably saw like oh I'm getting butted up with 007. I'm gonna shoot myself. Um, Yeah, I love as well that like Koskov literally like bails out of like a bathroom window, man, like in order
Yeah,
to get out of here.
yeah,
And like I like as well like this Saunders despite like he goes on about doing things the right way and all this
yeah. By the
is
book.
completely
and then like
legalistic.
he's like oh where's Koskov and he's like he's in the boot. It's like this is literally the first place they'd look
Yeah,
in
yeah, yeah, yeah.
check police. Um, and then like
Yeah,
he's gonna take him away, and he leaves Saunders with all the gear as well. And he's like,
Yeah,
"Oh
yeah,
man,
that's right.
I'm gonna take him elsewhere." And he's like, "Where are you gonna take him?" Sorry, mate. Section 26,
Yeah, yeah,
paragraph
yeah, yeah.
3. Like
No,
you need
sorry,
to know.
sorry, old man. There's
Yeah,
even like a little nod to Red Grant there. I feel like that wasn't an accident, was it?
maybe. I
Uh,
think there are some like nods to like earlier Bond films in this as
oh,
well.
big time. In particular, for Your Eyes Only, but obviously at a much better level. And
Yeah,
also, Never Say Never Again. There are a couple of things that tie those two films together. For example,
I don't
the
think they'd
kitchen.
ever acknowledge Never Say Never Again, but
Yeah, no, but the kitchen was. I don't know if you know this. The kitchen was filmed in the exact same kitchen that the fight
yeah, I
happened in.
thought that kitchen looked a bit similar. But
Same kitchen. Yeah, imagine that.
yeah, I mean,
Um,
yeah,
but we'll
still.
get there later. So
I
anyway,
like
so
yeah.
Bond puts Koskov in the pipeline.
Oh, I
Um,
love that. I love that
yeah,
bit. He's like,
this is
how much?
great.
How many people have you tested this on? You're the first, and then just like shuts the lid on
I
him.
was thinking more about
the
the girl that
Yeah, I knew you
helps
were
him out.
thinking it was.
She's brilliant. The actress for that, she's so funny, man. It's good
yeah
that they didn't. I mean, Timothy Dalton deals with the comedy, the more light-hearted moments fairly, but they don't. What's good is they don't give him too much to do. They have these other characters pull off a lot, like this
Yeah,
character. She has
yeah.
like, so he doesn't have the burden of doing that. They play
he
to his
has
strengths a lot, which is
You should
good.
he
see. You
has
should see one of the deleted scenes, man. But I'll get onto that. Yeah,
Yeah.
we all know this one. Anyway,
I don't
um,
but
But yeah, she's
oh,
very
you
funny,
don't.
man.
Yeah,
Like distracts the guard basically. So
yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
guard by the way is actually reprising his role from Octopussy where
yeah, was he the jeweler?
yeah he was
Oh
Lincoln
yeah, he was. Yeah,
and then
Yeah,
he shows up in this film.
yeah.
And I like to think that's the
Changed career
same.
paths.
I like to think he's the same guy. Like he just like he got rumbled from like his high position, and then he had to
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
start off from the bottom again.
Now
And
he's
that's
just got a quiet life, Yeah,
yeah,
off
Yeah,
the
so I
grid
assume. Yeah, I assume they send Koskov through his pipe to either like West Germany or like Austria or something.
to Vienna. Yeah,
Yeah,
yes
to
to
Vienna.
Austria.
Yeah, and like I love as well you get a lot more of Q in this film, I think. He
yeah.
gets
He has
like
a bit of
quite a bit to do.
field
I mean
work.
just
Yeah.
also like yeah, this is one thing Timothy Dalton actually did kind of push Eon to like, have a bit more of Desmond Llewellyn in the film.
Well, those
Uh,
two obviously they had their like Welsh union
yeah,
going on,
yeah,
man. Because like Desmond Llewellyn goes about saying, yeah, he was the best Bond as well,
yeah,
like the
yeah,
most accurate Bond, sort of thing. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, of course. But I mean, yeah, I'll get onto it when we actually get to the Q's lab scene. But still, I like as well, like he's just like because Costco's just come out of like being sent at like high speed through a pipe, and now they've got to put him in like a Harrier jump jet at the top of this
Yeah,
like
that's right.
gigantic building or something. Like he has to take his pills or something. Like,
Mm. And then
um,
eventually you get, the closing of the scene. So I'll let you, you know what I'm going to bring up, Henry. So I'll
oh
let
yeah,
you
yeah.
handle this though.
I mean, the fact that like you get a really cool bit where like Saunders is like he's like at the border checkpoint, like he's like I think because Bond's met back up with him,
Yeah.
and he's like that he's probably thinking like where is like Koskov, and then he sees this like plane like rise out of a building in the distance and fly off, and like he's like, oh, I'm not gonna let this slide, 007.
Your orders were to kill that sniper.
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna report you to him, and he's just like, yeah, literally don't care. But then like he's like he has to like deliver like the most like worst title like for this. He's just like, yeah, must have scared the living daylights out of her. And I think like
Unfortunately, that's what he's effectively remembered for. That's like the main thing people. It's because it's so. He's so stiff when he says it.
I think
but
he's the most.
How else are you meant to say
I think
it? Like
he's the most like. He's like the most Sigma James Bond, I think.
Yeah.
And I think, well, because I read a little bit about I watched a little bit about what the character in the book's supposed to be like, and he's supposed to be a bit like, I don't know, stressed, but like
he would be.
I don't like stressed, like I don't know. I think after doing all that, like Timothy Dalton, I don't know, a bit like he's trying to portray the character as being like stressed from like everything that just happened, like in a very very small way, like
even
not in like
hair loss in the License to Kill. So.
not in a way that's like directly expressed, but like tense a little bit. I think is a better word, as because and then this idiot's just this really legalistic Bond ally is trying to like threaten him, even though he did the job right, and then he's just like, yeah, must have seen itself, and I don't know, like that was never such a sore spot for me. So, like, yeah, it's like something that would go in the film and then I'd forget about it. Like,
I blame the writers more than I do Timothy Dalton. I think they just should have cut the line or just put it somewhere else. That it just if you cut the line, you never have this problem. That's my thing.
This is like even
I think Roger Moore could have pulled off, but then you need a little bit of music. You need it off the back of something somewhat amusing or whatever. You're always taking the edge off. Whereas the whole film, Timothy Dalton's character is on edge the whole time, so it's hard for him to just go, oh well, sort of almost dismiss what happened. Oh, must have scared the living daylights out. It just doesn't work. It's bad writing, I think. That's why I put it down.
I think it was hard to fit the title in a different context as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the way it is, yeah.
It sounds like it could be easy to work into, but it just kind of isn't.
Yeah,
it's not very applicable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could have had Bond doesn't have to deliver it, by the way. I think another character could have done it, and then you spare the Timothy Dalton's embarrassment a little bit, almost. You have like when like perfect examples. I mean, A View to Kill. How the hell do you get that in a
you don't really. Sentence? It's just like it doesn't make sense, but they're both insane anyway, so it's fine.
They both do it, so you're like, okay, they're allowed, basically,
I hate it when that comes up in the music.
So then we go and meet. We go to Q's lab. We meet we have a new Moneypenny.
Yeah, played by Caroline Bliss.
Yeah, Timothy Dalton gets his own Moneypenny, which has always amused me. In fact, and so does Pierce Brosnan later on, and Daniel Craig. So yeah, I like it. I like it when Bonds get their own. There's no crossover. Like, I mean, Lois Maxwell definitely, called it a day at the right moment. I like this Moneypenny. She's okay. She's all right.
Yeah, she's kind of just like
does what she needs to do.
Yeah, it's like just to, like kind of you do everything that you need to do and nothing more, if that makes sense. It's just kind of like that's about it.
How she like plays a bit more into like the nerdy like introvert a little bit more, and it's nice to see that take like in a character in a Bond film of all places. But like it almost makes it feel a little more like real, because you would probably like, I don't know, secretary is probably like quite, I don't know, like I'm really not sure, but it just makes it feel a bit more real to me, because not everyone you would meet in such a situation would just be like these like effortlessly like charming, like charismatic, like pleasant. I don't want to say pleasant because she's not unpleasant, but like you get what I mean.
You get she's like quite shy around him, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. As well though, like at this point as well, they're going through like the kind of all like the female Russian agents that exist.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Or like Soviet. And they're like, oh yeah, we can't
Easy, Tom. Your
find.
mic's flaring up there quite a lot. Just
Yeah,
saying.
literally. Yeah, and they're like, oh yeah, well, this lady you talk about isn't on here, so she's probably, maybe she's freelance, perhaps can look through those as well. So he's just like, yeah, okay. And what's yeah, Q gets to show off the ghetto blaster, which
Oh, this is great.
he doesn't call it a boombox for some reason, but whatever. Like,
That is so 80s as well, man. I just
Yeah.
love that. They took advantage of something that was like not a cultural phenomenon, but definitely something that really marks the time. But they didn't do it in a dated way. It was just like, yeah, this is. I call it ghetto blood, and the way that it's Q of all people
Yeah.
saying that as well. Like I love it.
Yeah,
I've got a
this
really
is like,
interesting bit of trivia about that actually.
yeah, they actually blew up someone for this.
Let me get it up. I'm amazed. Tom,
I
do you
love
know
the
what I'm
music
about to
that
say?
plays when it starts going on as well. Like, I don't know, even if it's just like,
Tom, do you know what I'm about to say about this scene?
Crew.
About the ghetto blaster. Right. Now check this out. So the rocket fired from the ghetto blaster in Q's lab in the movie was actually a special effect activated off screen by King Charles III, who was touring the studio at the time of filming with his then wife, Princess Diana.
wow, I didn't know
So,
that.
how about that?
Yeah, wasn't king then, but
The FX crew offered to allow King Charles III to activate the rocket that was used in the final cut of the film. So you actually have that was performed by our current sovereign monarch. So there you go.
No guessing what his favorite Bond film is then.
Well, I'll have to ask him someday. So yeah, that's obviously good. Get a bit more of Q. Then we move over to we meet Necros. Bloody
yeah,
yank.
yeah.
I could
Just so
resist.
many
They couldn't
different
resist, could they, to have a line like that in there?
He does so many different impressions of like people. He like speaks German. He's like pretends to be like American as well.
Yeah, he does a lot of things. Like he has a British accent. He has like
Yeah.
he speaks even in Afghan later. Then he's like,
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
To
Tom,
my
did you
knowledge,
recognize Tom? Did you recognize the actor for Necros where you've seen him before? Because
oh,
we
should I
watched a
know?
film with him recently. Well,
Oh,
he's not in
is
Die
that
Hard.
Die Hard? Is it?
he's in Die Hard, yeah, as well.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's
He's
really
Oh
cool.
yeah, he's that guy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
Isn't that cool?
Perfect.
Perfect actor for that
Yeah.
role.
He
as
does
well,
such a good job in this film. Like it is I think the best part about him is the fact that the soundtrack that goes with him, like he's literally listening to like "Where Has Everybody Gone," which is
Yeah.
like, yeah, great metaphor for the fact he's killed everyone, so there's no one left.
He's
It's
the
like
best villain. He's by far the best villain in this film. As well. Even though he's just a henchman, he really carries that entourage of
does,
like
yeah.
4 villains you've got in this.
I mean, there's
Who's the
there's
fourth
him,
one?
Koskov, and
Well,
Whisker. I still think Koskov and Whisker are actually they're far too maligned as villains. I think, but still.
Nah, I think
No, I think they're
It's
both
just because they
so.
don't have
they're
like,
terrible.
but Koskov is like he's literally a slimy bastard till the end. Like he always is trying to sneak his way out of
I
things,
think
being
what they
underhanded. He wants to kill
go
his
on.
own girlfriend. Like
Yeah, that's
I
true.
think
But the actor himself he's not overacting. I don't want to say that, but he's just way too animated. He stands out too much in the film as being he's too animated. He's too energetic, enthusiastic, too like eager to please. It's kind of like,
but
and
in
I
that
know
case,
that's
yeah.
supposed to
But
be
if
the
it was the other way
character,
around, you'd
but
be like, oh well, he just blends into the
I
background.
think what they tried to do in this film is like tried to do like another villain pairing thing, like with Octopussy again, like with Kamal Khan and Olaf. But I think like
yes,
they did
But
the
Brad Whisker, I
they
think
did
I
they
really
did
like
this
him though.
they did this slimy like character not as good as like Kamal Khan did it,
yes,
and
Yeah,
they
I'll give
didn't
you
do
that.
they
But still,
didn't
I
they didn't
wouldn't
do
say they're
the
bad.
crazy general as they didn't do the crazy general as good as Olaf did as well.
yeah.
Like I think they just I think
I like
it
the way they
works a lot
finally
better.
got an American villain though for this. Like, and
Yeah, that's good, but like
if there
Well,
was ever,
Zorin was already.
yeah,
I
but
think Tom
he's
is. You've
French,
actually
so
hit the nail on the head there. I never thought of that comparison, but you're right. It is basically exactly the same setup as Octopussy, and Octopussy did each individual character far better than this film. In that role, Kamal Khan and Gogol. Sorry, not Gogol. Olaf. They're like far superior. In this film, I mean,
although to be fair, in this
no, I
one
don't
you
like
have to
him.
kind of.
Honestly, straight up, just.
To be fair though, the difference is in this one you have to believe that Koskov is also an ally at some point. So
Yeah, of course.
even but Bond like sees through that so quickly. That's a weak thing about this film. I felt like is the fact that the villain's ruse is so quickly like dissipated, like
Yeah, but
pretty much
if it
almost
went on for
instantly
too long, it would
afterwards.
be confusing then.
Yeah, but that's the thing. They try all these different like diamonds, opium. They try to put all these
Yeah,
different things.
yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
Well, at
I
the end
wish
of the
they.
day, it's about like killing the KGB director to make an arms deal. Like it's actually quite simple.
Yeah,
I
they
agree
use
with Tom.
lots.
That I think is they're trying to. It's a good. It all fits on paper. It all works out. It's not a bad plot. It's just just the characters themselves aren't strong enough. The only one that really feels like really lives up to the role is Necros.
Yeah,
Yeah,
And
I'll give
he's like someone you could compare to Godmother effectively
Hmm.
in that sort of
I'll be really
setup.
interested to see where he goes on the henchman list.
yeah,
But
Oh,
yeah,
I think he'll do very well. I think the villains
yeah.
themselves won't. I think they'll be very poor. I just don't like any of them. But we'll get onto them more. We're focusing on Necros for the moment.
yeah, I love he just kills the milkman like with his headphones as well. He does this.
Yeah, and he garrots, so it's very much again a nod to Red Grant there, which I enjoy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
Now,
never
okay.
noticed that actually.
Bond rocks up in an Aston Martin for the first time since On a Majesty's Secret
Uh,
Service. I want to say
Yeah, he doesn't do it in Diamond
Roger Moore
Half.
never drives one, so
That's nuts. This must have been what it was nearly 20 years. No, 20. Yeah, it was nearly 20 years.
yeah,
About 18 years since he used one.
yeah.
So, our
But
generation of
anyway,
kids.
this is a very different one. This isn't like your flashy DB5, right?
Yeah,
In fact,
they really picked the right car for Timothy in this. So,
yeah, and it's much more believable that this would have gadgets on it.
I love this car. It's so cool. Like, I
yeah,
was like so disappointed when I was younger, like how quickly they got rid of it. But like, I don't know. Like, it's very for me. It's very memorable.
Yeah,
Like,
the Aston Martin V8 Vantage. I believe, funnily enough, it's the same or similar model to a Vantage is what uh, George Lazenby drives in On a Majesty's Secret Service.
yeah,
I
they
believe
do
that is
look
also
similar.
Vantage. It's not the V8, but that's also interesting. So you have
Kind
basic.
of.
So actually, up until this point, this is what the 15th Bond film, and then Aston Martin's only actually been in 4 of them so far. The
Yeah, but you
DB5
just
twice and the Vantage twice, which is actually a bit mind blowing when you think about it. When you think how crucial an Aston Martin is to James Bond's
Yeah, I think Pierce Brosnan
persona.
really brought that like back into the fray though. Just
Sorry.
because of Dino. I think Die Another Day really brought the Aston Martin back into.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait to talk about that. But anyway, for now, they're obviously at this safe house where Koskov is, as well as M, the Ministry of Defense. You know, the whole entourage, basically.
Yeah,
Um,
like Koskov was like he's like, oh yeah, man, like because like Bond is to yeah he went to shop at Harrods like previously,
yeah, that's
and he
right.
like he's like and then M's like you bought Bollinger, and he's like yeah well you know what they didn't have what you wanted, so I took some liberties with the MI6
Mm, and he's
so.
looking at the bill as well, isn't he? Like, oh,
I like
taxpayers' money
yeah,
here.
I like
I
how
kind of
he's
like
like
that they do. I think that the humor isn't like as overt as before. I think in terms of like it's not like
No, it's a lot more subtle. It's less on the nose for sure.
yeah that's how I
Um,
feel about it. And I quite like that personally.
Timothy Dalton enjoying a cigarette,
Yeah.
so that was interesting to notice. And then yeah, then it all kicks off. Necros sneaks in as a milkman. He
that's a really
and
cool like disguise, by the way. Like,
it's great, isn't
Yeah,
it?
I love it.
it's so clever. Like this whole thing is like I don't know. It sets up Necros amazingly, and like
Mm.
got to shout out the third and final Bond film, which this you could say actor has a connection to the parrot from
Oh
Oh
yeah.
yeah,
which belonged to Diana Rigg, and it was actually in Fear Eyes Only. I love how it that I don't know. I just enjoy seeing it there. It's like it feels
Just
like
random. There
Fear
isn't that
Eyes.
much of a purpose here, but
Fear Eyes, I know, but like Fear Eyes Only feels like such like an era ago, like
yeah,
in
it
at
really
this
does.
point, and then
Even though
you
it's in the
just
same decade, it's
yeah, like and then you just see like this little callback to it. And it's like, oh yeah, it's like I know, I just
how
like it.
far we've come.
what I
Yeah,
really like about this scene as well is it really, again, this is really building the universe a bit because you have a fight here which Bond isn't involved in. It's
Yeah,
another.
he's
It's
only
not a
just
double
there.
O agent, but it's an MI6 agent, just
Mm.
like a guy. And he has, and this guy can, put up a good fight. It might as well be
Yeah.
Bond in that situation. What I like is it's what
That's
you get
great,
here is a scene where you have a good guy versus a bad guy having a fight, and the good guy can lose because it's not Bond, but can still put up a very
It's
convincing
not just one
fight.
punch and he's out,
I
Yeah, he gives.
really
I love this. I think that's such an important thing that obviously because they're trying to fulfill a running time of 2 hours and something minutes, and they're trying to cram in, and they actually take the time to go, okay, Bond isn't going to be in this action scene, which is quite big. Like, it takes balls to make a decision like that, to dedicate a few minutes, which Bond is involved in, which is still action, and then just to basically build Necros's character effectively.
Do you know what's really interesting about that though? Actually, I think that was a deliberate choice because they put Timothy Dalton. They didn't want to have the new actor. They had to set up the henchman, right? So
Yeah.
but they couldn't have the new James Bond like failing because if he went up against it and they wanted to set up the henchman, Bond would have to fail somehow, and so
Yeah.
they didn't want to do that to the new Bond, so they like had him like away a bit, and then they had this other guy, this like other. I like it though because it kind of gives off the impression that like everyone working in that building has like some sort of like experience or something.
they're actually
Yeah,
competent.
Maybe even a retired agent himself or whatever, and then
Maybe.
like.
I wouldn't even say retired at that point. I mean,
Oh, could have been a former 00 agent, perhaps.
yeah, exactly. I mean, like, man, this guy, I've got to say that this guy, like, gets destroyed, man, though, throughout this fight. Like, he nearly gets, like, I don't even know what that thing that, like, Necros is using, like, that kitchen implement, like, to, like, I don't know, saw
That's like
holes
an
in his
electric
face.
carver, I think.
That's so
Yeah, I know.
grim when his face gets like pushed onto the
Oh
grill.
yeah,
like-
grilled.
Yeah,
Yeah,
grill, man, like,
Yeah.
grill some of his cheek. I mean, like, he only barely dodged getting, like, doused in boiling water as well. Like,
Yeah.
What is great about Necros as well? It's such a clever way. So he has. It reminds me of Red Grant a little bit actually, because
does
obviously,
it?
he has this fight at the beginning, but I mean his first fight is a lot better than Red Grant. Red Grant just sneaks up on the guy and garrots him, whereas this guy, fights this guy, and then Bond has another like very close shave with him later on, and then it all builds up to this final fight with him, which is great. And so that anticipation, that build up, is really effective.
Yeah, I
And then
like
obviously
Bond.
Necros dispatches of this guy, does an impression over the phone, then gets some like milk
Yeah, it's
bottle
like there's a
grenades,
gas leak
man.
in this
Like,
building.
He's
which
like a
is
one man.
like,
He's like a
'cause-
one man army in this scene.
yeah, very
Yeah,
much so.
he's literally improvising on the spot. Like he's like, oh yeah, there's like main gas leak, and then
I don't
he's
think
just
he
like,
is improvising. I think
well,
this is
because
all
he
planned.
didn't know this
It's
guy
all
was gonna like call for security, and so he has to like say something to them. I mean, it just helps his
yeah,
case to
maybe
be
that's
like,
true actually.
it
Yeah.
helps his case to be like, oh yeah, there's all these explosions going on. He's got like explosive milk bottles, man. Like,
Well, that's why I believe that was definitely intended. Those
oh yeah, that
grenades, like
was
he was always going to throw
just
those.
think,
Yeah.
oh, good thing
Um,
I found this milkman
and
on
then
there.
obviously he turns into he gets changed into like a doctor's outfit. That's right. His headphones become.
Yeah, stethoscope.
That's right. Thank you. And then he gets into the helicopter and he like knocks out Costco. And then when you're rewatching this, it's all staged basically, and
Yeah.
that's like, and then it gives it great rewatch value this moment. But yeah, man, it's just the only little thing is the guy like really overacting, that bald guy who was there. He's just like,
Yeah.
yeah, but other than that, it's just perfect, really. And everyone's completely embarrassed. The aftermath of it is like, oh, he's been snatched from under our
Yeah,
nose.
literally,
Like,
this guy's like been like only defected for like the last 10
yeah,
hours, and he's already back to Moscow or
yeah,
dead.
yeah.
Man.
So that's good. Okay, so then Bond, once again, we see Q. Bond is given a key ring.
Oh, you
Which
missed out like, oh man, just like M like roasting Bond for like 5 minutes again as usual.
Yeah,
Like, and
yeah.
then Bond says no to M for once.
Oh yeah, that's right. No, sir. Yeah, that's right. But yeah, Q gives him a key ring.
Yeah, which is used quite a few times. I quite like.
Yeah. Very good gadget. Gets a lot of action.
Yeah,
I
really
don't
good.
know why Bond like literally almost like just for a laugh blows up the whole of Q lab like with this shit.
Yeah, that was never gonna happen. I think that was another bit which is just delivered a little bit like it was like, oh, you mean like, but obviously that's a joke that is impossible to deliver properly. Again, they're giving him like I mean, this
I
guy
kind of liked it because he had that
Timothy
look on his
Dalton
face
does
like he
not.
was.
I think it's a bit of a myth that he can't handle one-liners. He can, but the one-liners in this case are like particularly shit and impossible to deliver. Not shit, but they're just impossible to actually. He can't begin that whistle, so he's just sat there going like this,
No,
like about to
no,
start
I
whistling.
actually I think he does this one well because he's kind of got that like look on his face. He's like he knows this is gonna really piss Q off, but then he doesn't actually. And like Q
But
obviously
he was never going to do that. So
I don't know.
it's
I mean,
what's the
for
point?
most of my time, I thought like, yeah, he might actually just like
No,
wind them
no.
up.
Obviously he wouldn't. So that's the problem. I just
He's
But
think
he
it's
just
is
trying to.
James Bond is a
He's just trying to.
psychopath at the
He's
end of
just
the
trying to
day. So
wind. He's just trying to wind up Q. Like that's it.
that's better than like in Thunderball where he's like, oh, so you have to swallow this pill now, you know.
yeah. Then Bond stalks Kara. So you
I
know,
just wanted to, yeah, because they find like, yeah, where she is actually.
yeah.
You also missed out like the sofa gag, man, like where like the
Ah,
guys.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Um,
one thing I also wants to mention before we never see Q again, they um they had like a different take of this, or instead they had like this quill that was writing, and it was like, oh yeah, the PM wants to give that to the Russian ambassador. The antennas in the quill, and who was it? I think John Glenn admitted like they really liked doing filming with Desmond Llewellyn. So even if they had like a perfect first take, they just film a couple more takes anyway, just to like have more like time with him,
wow.
which I think it's quite nice.
Yeah. So then Bond goes and stalks Kara, and you know that leads to yeah, her apartment's been trashed and everything. She gets arrested. Blah blah blah. He finds
I
the
quite.
gun. It's a bit of like actual detective work
Oh
going
yeah,
on.
I like it because he has to bring this like really floral like cello case into a bathroom with him.
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
that
yeah.
janitor also the same really short janitor from
Yeah, I was wondering that. But he's
She's
grown a
actually
little bit, hasn't he? So I'm not sure.
yeah,
I
exactly.
like.
So yeah,
It might have been. With knowing
yes.
Bond, you know how like jobs for boys they are, man. It could have been, but yeah.
Yeah, so he was just like, he's just like, oh yeah, there are blanks in this rifle, which she never took out for some reason. But yeah, I mean, I guess she wouldn't have thought to. But
I like how she just she just like lives in a flat somewhere, and she's like has very ordinary background.
Yeah, that's right.
It's not like she
Some
like lives.
glamorous, yeah, apartment,
She
yeah,
doesn't.
not like
penthouse,
with
whatever.
with
She
Octopus, he
doesn't.
has like a whole island to herself.
She doesn't live. Yeah, she doesn't have like these almost like mythical like origins or something like octopus or solitaire
Yeah,
or
she
what.
doesn't have a fingerprint, scanner in her closet, or
Yeah,
anything.
literally, man.
You're
Um,
right. Yeah, she's got very humble. You never see that in a Bond film. Actually, that's a good point, Simon. She's got very humble surroundings, basically, very humble life,
yeah,
which
this
really
scene
does
though as
build
well,
her
like,
character a lot.
I mean, it's never said, but like, it must be like, like Bond must be kind of horrified when he realizes this. Like, at least, I mean, he's seen a lot of
Mm.
stuff, but like the fact that she's like, oh yeah, man, like she hadn't like he realizes, yeah, she has no idea her boyfriend just tried to get her killed.
Yeah,
Like,
and how right he was not to shoot her as well. He's like, yeah, that was a good call. Like. What is really interesting, a question this raised for me while I was watching the film, it does make you think about how often perhaps these, government missions, whatever, these alliances they make, I'm not going to name names because I don't want to get political, but, the government will make mistakes in terms of forming alliances with the wrong people who turn out to be deceiving them the whole time. And that's
Yeah.
something just like this film kind of makes me aware of a little bit where I'm like, yeah, this probably happens quite a lot in real life, but
probably more than they want to admit. Like,
exactly, that's exactly what I mean. There's a lot of cover-ups happening when I don't. Again, I'm not going to name names, but anyway,
oh
so
man, I
this
love.
leads basically to this. It's very clever how they get rid of the tail.
Yeah,
There's like an agent outside. They put the
yeah,
cello
because
there.
then like the tram goes past. She has like the fastest, like I
Yeah.
don't know, dressing up this cello case and then like dipping to the car because the car's
This
already
is the
got
bit that I really don't believe that Bond would go back to get
Yeah,
this
I think it
cello.
might just be
That's
a bit for.
never in a million years happening. But he
Yeah,
does
I
it.
know. It's the fact that they
Explain
need
that,
to.
Henry.
Yeah. I wouldn't believe that he would. But I think it's just like it's kind of funny anyway because he's like, no, definitely not. And then the next shot is just him in the car just being
Yeah.
like,
Maybe he
great.
does. Maybe. All right, I'm going to try and defend it a bit. Maybe he does feel like he just feels compassion for her because he's seen that's all she's got. Actually, her life's been trashed, man. So he's like, maybe he does sit there and go, "Well, this is all she's got, really."
Yeah.
So Maybe there is a bit of that actually.
But it is quite funny. Like he's just like pissed off trying to get this like cello, and he's like, why didn't you just learn the violin?
Yeah, that's true.
But
That is a
then,
good line.
it's a good thing.
That's what I mean. He's fine. Timothy Dalton he's fine with the one-liners when they're good, like not like the Living Daylights, man. That's not his fault. I mean, I used to have that lazy opinion of like, yeah, he can't do it. Actually, no, that's completely a myth now.
I think they're not his one-liners aren't as memorable because they're not so like because they aren't so on the nose, I guess, because it's not something that sticks in your mind. But when you're
Yeah.
watching the film, it kind of just goes.
Now
well,
here we
so
have
that's kind of a good
okay, probably the
choice.
two worst characters in the film for my money. Pushkin meets Brad Whitaker.
You don't like Pushkin? Is it
I
'cause
like
he's
him
played
more
by
than Brad Whitaker. I'll say that much.
you
Um,
don't like you? Yeah, I don't know what this with this Brad Whitaker hate though. I really like him.
He's what I like about him is that he's very again it's
Very
once again
American.
like the Bond filmmakers like poking fun at Americans but now in a completely different
Because
way.
like they've got the statue of like he's got like literally his house is lined with statues of like
Yeah, but
Genghis Khan.
I just think he's so in your face, he's so American
Yeah.
really
That's the
for want of
He
whole
a better
doesn't.
point.
He
word.
doesn't. He doesn't do anything really either. He's just like
He
sits there.
he has a good like fourth act kind of fight with Bond. I think.
Yeah, but like,
No, that's terrible,
You
man. That's
hate
the
that?
worst part
No,
of the
no,
film.
man. I really think people hating on that fourth act bit is like so lazy because it's like a bonus mission.
yeah, but
No, that's
he's
the
like,
worst part of the film by
How?
far. By
I
far.
can't
What about
believe
when like Light is guiding him in there and shit, man? Like, come on.
I
And the way
really.
he actually dies, like the pillar for it's
think.
terrible, man.
I think that one's. We'll
The way
talk
he
about
dies
it
isn't good, but
after.
I do like the actual fight in there because it's like this is what this guy dreams of, man. Like
Yeah, that's
gunning
true.
down
That's true.
people in here, and
I
he's
Yeah,
like,
the
actually,
way he's like a typical American like gun owner, home defense, and they're like waiting for someone to break in so he can gun him
yeah.
down.
So
That's
I
his
mean,
dream.
also
Yeah,
I mean, we'll get onto that when we
yeah,
get to
yeah,
it.
yeah,
But
I
like, he's literally
actually,
got mind. He also has like a statue of Hitler there, by the way.
yeah. That's
I
right.
do. I do like. I think he's very funny. Like, and the thing is, it's really unintentional, but it's funny because like there's a type of person which he's poking fun at, which is much more prevalent nowadays than it was back then, which is quite funny.
That's true.
And so that's funny. I actually do like the way he dies because it's cool how it's like a British statue that like squashes him, like, and then he's like,
Mm,
Yeah.
and it's like a cool gadget use as well. But we'll talk
that's
about
true.
that
That's true.
later. We'll talk about that later.
Well, I think once again the best part of this scene is actually Necros, even though he doesn't say anything. It's just he's so ripped, man. He's like, and he's just there, He's just and he doesn't care. He's wearing like, they're all wearing. I mean, it's almost like cock shame versus cock confidence, but like in a completely like strange way because you've got like Koskov. He's there. And he's like whatever. He's the women are around him, but
Wait, hang on. Has this No, no, don't worry. I'm just looking
It
at
is
something here.
recording.
okay. And you've
Yeah.
got I think Necros, even though he's obviously like a man who looks after himself, sort of thing, as Mads Mikkelsen might say. Um, you've got like he doesn't appear to be interested in the women around him. Like perhaps he is, but like he's very again, it's like he's quite a Sigma like
Yeah.
character as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he's like
He doesn't say much, but
it
like
might
what he says
jeopard
is like valuable,
it might jeopardize my comrades relying on me in the
Exactly.
Yeah,
struggle
for world
against.
revolution. Yeah.
Exactly.
That was kind of funny just because it's
Great
like
line.
it's so
Just
like
built his character very well.
so like Soviet man. Like
Yes.
I
Complete
swear that it came apart beforehand, or at least am I like going insane? I don't know because there's
Well, the
like
next bit now is Bond hails a taxi, which is actually a chariot, effectively, which is a horse-drawn carriage, which is again, it's like you're almost watching a different film now, which is nice. Oh, sorry,
yeah. I was
we
gonna say I
completely
think you
skipped
skipped the
over
whole ice chase.
the car chase. My bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I was like,
Okay.
how can you skip this? Like
Right.
get out of
Let's talk about.
Czechoslovakia, totally fine.
Well, yeah. Take it away then.
I mean, so obviously, yeah, these police like they're real. They must have gone. Actually, I don't wish they had this scene in there, but like they must have gone up to this thing like, oh yeah, she's having a really long phone call. Let's go up and see. And it's a cello.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um,
like that. That always like got me as a child. I don't know. Just
Sorry, say that again.
I really like the hype like I had as a child when I saw that because I don't know, there was a lot of tension with like them being on the run from the authorities and stuff, and like, yeah. Can you like, is my mic quality good? I just want to
Yeah,
know.
you're okay now.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just a
fine.
bit
Kind
quiet
of
earlier.
breathed into it. Yeah, this is like the fact that like this Aston Martin has this gadget where like it fires lasers into like it's like another police car pulls up like and he's like, oh yeah, pull over, and he's just like, yeah, I'm definitely doing that. I'm
Yeah.
surprised they don't notice like the car is like being like, I mean, I guess it's something you don't think to look for, but
And then at the end he goes, salt corrosion.
yeah, it's like,
I
oh,
love that. This is where it's again. It's like not. He's great with these lines. With the comedy, his humor's fantastic. This is a great delivery of like all these. You know, he's amazing. This modern safety glass. You know, like
Yeah.
I've had a few additional
Yeah, I had a
additional
few
extras.
additional
Like,
extras
Glad
installed.
I insisted you brought. Glad I insisted you brought that cello.
yeah.
This is like this is something I really like with this chase as well. They're not like just sending these shitty police cars after him. Like this is something that the Czech military would actually do. They're sending like fully armored cars after him as well, and like
Yeah.
kind of like nearly like tank kind of things.
Yeah.
Which actually puts Q's like work to the test.
The only thing I don't like is that they all of a sudden stop firing at him while he's getting the skis out and stuff. It's kind
Oh
of like,
yeah.
you know, oh well, let's just give him a minute here to set up,
Yeah.
on this.
It might be because they're too
It's-
close to the other policemen. I don't know that they don't want to blow them up. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah, maybe that's
It
that's a
reminds.
generous
I
way
know
of
this is like.
Or maybe because they think the car's like stuffed, they can just catch up to him because like it's lost its wheel.
It reminds.
maybe.
It reminds me of something that I'm not sure if it's like, like appropriate to tonally to bring up on this podcast, but yeah,
Yeah,
it
probably not.
is a bit like funny how like everything stops just for like everyone to be like, ooh, look at the car evolving, and it's like,
Yeah.
I think the reason why they do stop that is because they might think the car actually can't move now, or just can't get very far.
Yeah.
Um,
Maybe.
I like as well, like because they had quite a bit of difficulty filming this, unsurprisingly. Like I saw like a lot of like deleted footage of like the several takes of them trying to get the barn correct,
Hmm.
yes, the spinning a car around inside it, blowing up at the right time. And they actually almost lost the Aston into like the ice lake at one point, and they only barely managed to like pull it out.
I
Which
quite like
was
the fact that you don't know what the gadgets are. Key doesn't explain beforehand what
Yeah.
this car can do. It's not like the DB5. It's like, it gives you, well, I mean, not
Yeah,
everything,
full
but more or less you know what to expect. When Key says something's going to happen, Bond's going to push that button later on. Whereas in this case, everything's kind of a surprise. So you're like Kara in this moment. You're like, oh, okay. And then he's explaining,
Yeah. He like because
an
they set up a
atmospherical
roadblock, he, like,
anomaly,
blows up in
like
full.
it's so funny, man.
Yeah. Yeah, because like the car does like
Tunes into the police bandwidth.
Yeah, he has to get over. Yeah, he basically has to get over like more or less a second roadblock. So he uses like the skis and like the spikes that come out the tires, which is not the last time they do that with the car.
Mhm.
Um,
And it's got the laser, the missiles at the front
Yeah,
on
it's
on
got
the
so
screen.
much.
Very cool stuff, man.
yeah, I mean, yeah, they don't need like a metal board at the back to be bulletproof anymore.
really,
Yeah.
really is like man's fantasy at that point when there's like flipping blockage in the roadblock and he has like
Yeah, it just shoots over it.
yeah, just amazing.
I do like that rocket jump, but also the fact that something
Oh, the
I
jump's
like even
amazing.
more is the fact that his car just isn't indestructible like all these previous Bond cars. Like
Yeah.
the skis fall off and like the tire gets destroyed.
Very lucky to walk away from that crash, though. The
Yeah,
fact they
exactly.
didn't go head onto into a tree first, and then secondly, like, they didn't like break their necks or whatever. Like,
Yeah,
they
yeah,
just walk
exactly.
away.
Maybe
That was like very, plot armor, but still,
Maybe Cure some very well designed seatbelts, So
maybe.
There
But
is
anyway,
something
so then they
that's
get the
even
cello
more
case
ridiculous
out, and you have
amazing.
this like amusing but very well put together, like
Yeah, it got stormtrooper aim from these like guards. But
yeah, that's right.
I guess the fact that like they're also being jostled around and this thing does not help at all. And
Yeah.
also every time they shoot, like they're kicking up snow, which is like makes it harder to see. So I don't
Yeah.
know. I love the bit at the end. I mean, I've seen you both. Where
Oh,
like
yeah.
it's like, oh yeah, it gives it his like British passport, and he's like, oh yeah, wave this, and then like just chucks the cello over like the border, like guard
Catches
kind
it
of
again
fence.
in
And
one
they-
shot. How difficult must that have been?
Yeah, it's just
Still.
like, yeah, we've got nothing to declare, and then just keeps going.
It's weird that they only need one passport, though. You know, they don't. Where's her passport? I mean, she gets one later, but they wouldn't just allow two people with one passport, would they?
But I think it's the fact that they're also like being chased from like the Soviet army that the Austrians would probably just be like, yeah, fuck these guys, just let them through. Because it's like Cold War. You know? It's like when people escape from East Germany to West Germany, they weren't going to turn them away because then they'd just be shot. And also they can't really stop them.
I just think it's a little bit weak, but okay. So then, all right. So then this is when we've already spoken about it. Pushkin meets Brad Whitaker, and then Bond hails a taxi, which is actually, like I said, a horse and carriage.
Yeah, I do find it funny though that he like there's a bit where he has to where like Kara like he's like, oh yeah, look at this dress, man. He's like, yeah, we're gonna buy it on Yorgi's account. He's just like charging the shit out of Koskov's like bank account this whole film.
Yeah. So anyway, then they go to a concert, and Bond's there. He's got his riz on with this girl. And Saunders, base at incel, clocks him. And he's like seething there, and like he's like, "Isn't that the girl with the cello?" Or he's so mad.
Yeah, he's like literally shoved.
He's probably annoyed that James Bond didn't get fired because of his report or something.
Big time. He's annoyed the Bond's right, and he's got the girl as well. But it's funny again because Saunders is definitely like, yeah, he didn't shoot her so he could, because he fancies her, which isn't actually the case. I mean, I'm like certainly perhaps by this point Timothy does begin to catch feelings, but certainly not, at the beginning of the film. So yeah, Saunders is very much like, "Hi, you fucker." Yeah.
Oh man, he is so like.
Because Bond is he's very like, getting very like comfortable there and stuff,
Yeah, but he's like, oh yeah, meet me at the cafe later on, because like he realizes Bond's not, because Bond explains to him, I'm not just like doing this to fuck.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Like, and then like someone's like, oh okay, oh you're actually making progress on this. We might get Koskov back. This is interesting. Like, because he realizes, oh Bond, you actually have been doing work. So this is kind of like, this is where like I think their relationship changes a bit, where he realizes. Because he probably hasn't worked with him before. He just has this. He just knows like.
Yeah, heard about him probably.
Probably heard about him. And then he goes, "Oh, okay. So you are actually doing something here. All right. So we can work on this. So like he's gonna find where.
So they agree to meet at the fun fair at this cafe, and then you have like a very. I really enjoy this. It's like very romantic. It gives me vibes of like Winter Wonderland kind of setting.
Yeah. They really
very Yeah, again, this is it's like a genuine
James Bond on a Dodgem car, man. Like,
yeah, and it does feel like genuinely romantic, and this is akin to. I mean, it's not on the same level because they end up getting married. George Lazenby and Diana Rigg, but
yeah,
it's kind of like when we have all the time in the world. It's a little bit like that, but
but
not as serious.
Very low key.
I love the bit as well where like he's at like the rifle range and the guy like, oh man, no more. He's just like. Like bankrupting this guy.
Yeah, and you have a very funny moment. This is because it's also like, I mean, I've been there. I know we've all been there a little bit. Where like he arranges the wheel to stop at the top, and then they start making out, and then as it comes down to the bottom, they're still going, and then everyone catches them and they're laughing, and it's like, that's a really funny moment. And they look like a little bit embarrassed. It's so funny.
Yeah, I don't
think he arranged it. I think it was like I was like, yeah, respect when there was like maybe a minor mechanical fault at the top when there happened to be at the top, and then he's like, he just seized the opportunity and says like, "Oh, I arranged it." And
that happens anyway. I think with most fun, I think they do tend to stop for a little bit, like at the top.
Yeah,
but then do you know how long it would take if every individual capsule stopped at the top?
Well, I can only talk. I mean, I was on the London Eye about 6 months ago, and that but each pod does get a moment at the top, so. Maybe he did arrange it. Maybe he just slipped the guy a tenner,
Yeah, exactly. Probably doesn't. Yeah, he's not exactly
very possible.
broke, so. Yeah.
I mean, when they've spent all night at this fair, he's probably like, yeah, let me try this, like why not, and it works, so good for him.
Yeah, I mean, it feels bad for like Saunders as well because he gets down and he's like, you also get like.
You get like he's going up on the wheel and he looks down and Saunders is looking up.
Yeah, I love that because I think he must be he must be late again. I assume by that because like Saunders looks really pissed off. Either that or he's just seething. Is it
pissed off because Bond is late and also he's like, oh, he's with this girl. It's not fair. Why isn't that me? I do.
Is it also that I forgot? Is it like like Necros is there with the balloons. He's a balloon
Yeah,
salesman.
he's like
He's still listening to his
stalking.
music.
He's stalking the.
That's right. Yeah, he's still
soldiers.
jamming
Yeah,
to.
does he like offers a balloon? I think he offers it to Saunders, right? Or is it to
No, he
Yeah,
off-
that's
he-
right.
Yeah.
you want a balloon? Like of all like oh no,
And in German,
yeah, he's
I
supposed to be
reckon.
German. I just remembered like
Yeah.
he's being American beforehand, but yeah, I mean like yeah, because Bond and Saunders they meet in the cafe and he like gives them this is what I've been looking at, and then like I kind of this is the part where you feel bad for Saunders because he's like they're
Definitely.
both finally they've got an understanding with each other. They're like working together. Like Saunders actually looks like happy for the first time in his life.
Yeah.
And then he walks out and then he like he gets killed in kind of a weird way. I don't know why.
Yeah, this is stupid. It happens effectively off screen because there's no way of like A, it would look weird to pull this off, and B, it'd be extremely gruesome if you did probably like try and show exactly how it happened.
Yeah.
And this film, this is the as far as UK rankings go, this is like the last PG Bond film, and then you get a 15 just out of nowhere, and then they all become 12s afterwards. I wish they'd have made this like a 12 or a 15, just they can go really dark with
but they're transitioning from
bit
like
of blood, whatever. I don't know.
So, yeah, man, I do remember as a kid though that kind of like scared me, man. The fact that like
Oh,
that
really?
ball just like crushed the guy, like
It doesn't make sense though. How does
I know it
Necros
doesn't make sense, but I
it
guess
doesn't make
it's
sense
like,
at all.
well, to be fair, in fairness, like there's a lot of like everyday stuff that can just kill you, like escalators if you get something like stuck there that's or like a lift, for example. Not even just like the lift fading, like if you're like if like your tie gets stuck in a lift or something when you're outside, it'll pull you down and crush you or something.
If you enjoy that sort of thing, even for viewers, but you too as well, if you enjoy that sort of thing, watch Luther.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
Saunders.
Do you reckon Saunders ends up on Live Leak? Eventually.
Maybe, yeah. Saunders, unfortunately, yeah, he is killed, and he's the sacrificial lamb. And you do have like the balloon, which has
Spionen.
yeah, that's right, like death
Death
to
the
spies, and you're like,
Spies Minister.
which is kind of, and you can see Timothy Dalton. He's like raging, man. He's like the acting there is great because he was just in such a nice moment with this girl, and she's still there, like around the corner waiting for him. But the mood is completely shifted, and Timothy Dalton has to really like do a lot of acting to just display that, and he does a really good job.
Yeah, and
then
also the fact that
you get this great fake out of like he looks up and sees the balloons, and then you get the music, the theme song going, and he jumps over and he does this full like Bond gun out, almost like the gun barrel sequence. He like lands like that, and it's just some random like
it's like he's like oh shit, I didn't shoot the kid. Thanks.
it's such a close shave. It shows how good Necros is, and it just gives you this great little fake out, which again just builds towards their eventual fight, which is just fantastic.
Yeah, because even now, like this whole thing, because obviously he doesn't trust Koskov. He doesn't even know whether Pushkin is actually also like, actually killing spies. Because it could be true that like Koskov is faking his defection and all this just to like get away and do something else later on. But at the same time, Pushkin could actually be like killing a lot of agents, even if it doesn't, to Bond it doesn't make sense. But the fact that they've already killed 004 in Gibraltar, and now they've killed this, like is now the only guy who he's actually managed to make friends with throughout the film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he has to kind of act cool in front of
Yeah.
Kara, which is difficult
oh,
because she's
yeah,
completely oblivious. He has to keep up his act, and she goes, "Oh, did he leave a message?" And then he goes, "Yeah, I got the message." And that's a great little moment, It's like, oh, he's seething, but he can't give it away either.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's like quite a few layers of acting there, I think. But
Yeah. It's very,
so,
very.
yeah, we got to go to Tangier tonight.
Got to go to Tangier, but before we do, ladies and gentlemen, we're going
Oh.
to play a little game that I like to call License to Quiz.
I want to play a game.
So, we got the results from last week, by the way, and I regret to inform you, Tom, that I think Henry, it was so close, but Henry just edged it last week. So that brings the overall head-to-head between you two to, help me out, I think 3-all, is it now?
I thought it was 4-2.
Is it 4-2 to you now?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was 3-2 before. So 4-2, okay. See how you get on here.
Yeah, so this is just like of all the films to like stab me in it would be this one.
Yeah, it's that I've noticed that kind of ends up being the way. A film that one of us particularly likes always loses at License to Quiz, so this is going to be interesting. Okay, budget for The Living Daylights?
I'm gonna guess 15 million.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with like 20 million.
Okay, Henry's closer. The actual budget for this film was, according to IMDb, 40 million US
Wow. I mean,
dollars.
yeah,
So-
there are quite a few like action set pieces in this. Like, I don't know what would have cost so much. I mean, Timothy Dalton got paid quite a bit for this, so
Yeah, I'm not really sure because it's not like it has an A-list cast either. Really,
yeah.
doesn't have anything. Yeah, I don't know.
They spent all the budget like developing where has everybody gone, like
I bet they spent a lot of money on all that Brad Whitaker stuff. I bet he
Yeah,
chewed up a lot of
probably.
that budget. Okay. And what do we think the worldwide gross was for this film, according to IMDb?
Man, I don't. Unfortunately, Timothy Dalton's films weren't that successful, I think, box office wise. I'd probably go with in money from 1987. Is this like in today's money or like money then?
Back then.
Probably go at most like 90 million.
I'm gonna say no, it didn't. I don't think it did so well, unfortunately. I'm gonna say 70 million.
Okay, well, Tom's closer, but this film was pretty much an outright flop. This made 51 million.
It's like
IMDb.
prime, man. It's not even bad.
Yeah.
I think it must
So-
have been. This is like always hangover from the previous film as well.
Okay, well, question 3 now. This was the last Bond film to use an original Ian Fleming title until which film?
I think Casino Royale.
Tom, you got there first. He's
Ah.
correct. Casino Royale, 2006. A gap of almost 20 years without an Ian Fleming title between this
Hmm.
and Casino Royale. So 2-1 to Tom. Can you name every 00 agent that is name checked in this film?
004,
008, 007, and
and 003,
Keep going.
007. No, 008.
So you've both got
004,
004, 7, and 8. There's one more.
002.
006.
No.
No, 005.
No. Come on, Emmy. Henry, you've got to guess. Otherwise,
009,
Tom's
009, 009,
No.
001,
Uh,
002,
003.
003.
002.
What the heck,
Yeah.
man?
I said 002 earlier, man.
Did you?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna give because I'm like I was incredulous to the fact that neither of you said 002 for so long. So yeah, that makes sense.
Man, you got to look on VAR.
All right. 2-2 then. Now this is good because this has worked out for a question. This is okay. I'm gonna explain the rules for this question now. Basically, the question is, in Brad Whitaker's personal war museum, he has a bunch of busts and statues of himself dressed up as some military leaders in his historical military leaders. Okay, now there are 8 of them in total, and I want you two to say how many you think you can name. Now, whoever bids the most, so say for example Henry says 8, you have to name all 8. If you fail to do that, then Tom gets the points.
I think
Okay.
I could say
I
about
think-
4.
I can say 4 as well.
Well, one of you's got to go 5 then.
Oh my gosh.
Let me just double
Hmm.
check that there are.
Let me think very hard on that. Did you research every single leader?
Yeah, I've got all 8 names here. There are 8. So,
Phew.
I'm gonna have to press one of you to step up and grasp the nettle. So, who's it gonna be? I think I might just cut some of this out, actually.
This is so difficult.
Yeah, he's not gonna have like a like. You know,
Screw it. Like I don't care. Like I'm
All
gonna
right,
say.
all right. Good for you, Tom. Let's do it. Let's do it. This is your
so
chance to knock
exposed.
Henry off his perch, man.
I'm
So,
trying to think so hard on this.
Henry, you
but-
can't
So
interrupt him. You
exposed.
can't help him.
All right.
So-
Why would I help him?
Tom's gonna step up. Do
I'm
you
gonna
take
say-
the challenge, Tom?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, let's do it. Go
For
for
the
it.
sake
I
of
respect the
pure
bravery here.
Entertainment. So Hitler,
Yep.
Genghis Khan, or
Yep.
Genghis Khan, however you pronounce it.
Jesus.
Napoleon,
Yep.
Julius Caesar,
Yep.
That's Julius.
and now this is the one I'm guessing. Right. I'm gonna say I'm gonna
I will
say.
give you. I will
I'm
give you a clue because
Oh,
I do
thanks.
respect how brave you've been. Step up. You've got 2 English guys
Oh,
here.
I'm gonna say
Wow.
Wellington.
Yeah. Wellington's
Yes!
easy
You
because
literally gave him.
obviously
You
that
gave him
kills
an
me, yeah.
assist though. Wow. You never.
Yeah,
You weren't
'cause
going to tell us at
Well,
all.
Henry, you had Cromwell here. I thought you'd have seen that.
I didn't
You had.
see him.
Yeah, the other 3 were Cromwell,
You said you weren't
Alexander
going
the
to give
Great.
anyone hints though.
You have Oliver Cromwell, Attila the Hun, and Alexander the Great as well.
Oh, do you know what? My guess was gonna be wrong though, because I was gonna guess one of the Civil War generals or leaders and be like, yeah,
Ah.
he.
I don't know why you picked Cromwell anyway. It would have been make more sense to use Fairfax. Because like Cromwell just did
Cromwell
like
is Henry's favourite film. We should add out the most historically accurate film.
with Timothy Dalton.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. You said you weren't going to give us any hints, and then you did. I think that's
you
fair.
can't give him hints. I can.
You
Okay,
said
so
you
Tom
weren't going to
takes
give
the
us
point.
any hints of countries though.
Not with
But,
country.
yeah,
Oh, right.
he
I
mentioned
asked you earlier, and then you
Yeah, but
didn't
Tom,
say.
you know, Tom didn't take the coward's way out, so he
Nah,
deserves.
man, no,
Fortune favours the brave.
You've moving the goalposts. I'm just saying. So
Fortune favours the
Indeed.
brave, Henry. And
I wouldn't call that fortune, but
Tom's gone. Tom's gone ahead here. You still have a chance to redeem yourself, though, Henry. So, question. So right now, Tom's leading 3-2. This is the first James Bond film where he is smoking a cigarette since which film?
I'm gonna say Mouth of the Golden Gun.
a cigarette.
I'm looking for cigarette specifically. Yes.
I
Oh,
think Diamonds Are
cigarette.
Forever. And
And I want a final answer here as well. I'm not gonna
yeah,
like
I'm just
do whoever's
trying to
close.
think.
cigars don't count, do they?
Yeah.
No, I'm looking for a cigarette specifically.
Um, hmm. Oh,
No,
this is
Live
tough.
and Let Die. Actually, I think he is smoking a cigarette there. No, that's not. That was a cigarette.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna
Diamonds Are
say
Forever.
Diamonds Are Forever.
Well, you're both wrong, so you're gonna have to keep battling it out until someone gets
I'm
it
gonna
right.
say Spy Who Loved Me then.
Okay.
Could you go with Moonraker?
No.
I'm gonna say
All right.
You Only Live Twice.
All right, Man with the Golden Gun.
No.
That's a cigar though, and that's why I said first.
No. Keep going. I'm
View to
gonna
a
keep
Kill?
going until someone says it.
Octopussy.
No.
A View to a Kill.
I said
No.
a View to a Kill.
For Your
For Your
Eyes
Eyes
Only.
Only.
No.
Never say
We're
never
just gonna go
again.
backwards throughout this.
What?
Uh,
Just say the name, man.
On a
It's actually
Majesty's
quite
Secret
obvious.
Thunderball,
Service.
Thunderball.
Yes.
No, it has.
On a Majesty's Secret
What?
Service. Henry got it.
He does smoke in
Oh.
Diamonds Are Forever, I swear.
Yeah, he
No.
does.
No. He has a cigarette in On a Majesty's Secret Service and hasn't
No,
had
because
since.
no, because I'm thinking of when he's bedding a Tiffany case and he's got an ashtray on his chest.
She's
Uh,
smoking. He's not.
Clickbait. Not
Ah,
clickbait, but you know what I mean.
All right, well, this brings it down to a final question, which
Oh,
would have been fun to have that military war leaders, but I wasn't sure how it would pan
I was
out.
gonna just shoot myself if that was the case.
So this is the final question now. Mariam Diabo had previously screen tested for the role of which character in a previous Bond film? And if you need more help, I'll give it to you.
Would
but
she have been in For Your Eyes Only?
I'm gonna say
she screen tested for a character in which
In-
film? I'll give you that. Or
I
if you
said-
Mouth
get
of
the
the Golden
character,
Gun.
So
The
For Your
Mouth
Eyes
Gone
Only is not it. Okay, hang on.
it was a character
I
in A
love-
View to a Kill. I'll make it easy for you. It was a character in A View to a Kill.
Stacy.
They
No,
suck.
Jenny Flex.
No,
No. Mayday.
no.
Who could she have been?
She could have been.
Oh
no.
no.
No, that's an octopus. I think she could have been the one in the beginning when he's in the iceberg.
No.
Who the
Oh,
hell
no.
could she have been? Christopher Walken. So
she
not
could have
Mayday,
been
not Pam Ho, not Jenny
M.
Fleck, not
She gonna be M. No.
who. There's no other women in that film.
There is.
Stacey Sutton.
No.
We already gone through her. Who is
Tom
it?
nearly said it.
What?
Tom nearly said
Pam
it.
Ho is not.
Pam Ho.
No.
Jenny Flex.
No.
Mayday.
Who?
This is for the winner. This is to clinch it.
I don't even
Henry,
know
this-
who it is.
Henry, this is your chance to outright win.
I'm like
against
M,
fast forwarding in my
Was it
mind.
M?
No.
Like
No.
not
Was
Money
it the
Penny.
one?
I don't know. Like
Oh my gosh.
when
Uh,
other women in that film?
well,
Not taking.
Tom,
She
you
wouldn't have
nearly
taken
said
one
her
of the-
name.
She wouldn't have
I
taken
said
one of the
like
male
every
roles, right?
female in the film, like so.
James,
What?
she wouldn't have taken one of the male roles, right? No.
No.
I'm gonna say
Who is it? There aren't any other women in that film.
the one in the iceberg, flipping Jenny Flex, Pan Ho, Mayday.
There's
What's
no,
Stacey Sutton, like I
Would
haven't
she
said
have
anyone,
the cameo of Maud Adams? I don't know.
and I've dementia. Like
You've literally forgotten one character. There is one name. I'm not gonna tell you. You have to guess it. This is for the winner.
Oh man,
um
Sir Godfrey Tippett.
um um oh man, oh this
Pain
film.
and suffering.
I'm good. It is pain and suffering.
These are good questions, man.
This is.
I actually can't remember any. Are they like so minor?
I
She's
think
a pretty
I.
minor character, but you know, she's
I'm
still in the
gonna.
film
I'm
for
gonna.
about 3 minutes, I would say, but 3 memorable minutes.
Uh,
Oh, yeah, the person in the hot tub. What was her name?
What was it?
there's Russian space
Russian agent.
spy.
Russian agent.
Can I get a name?
I don't know what her name was, but I got the character right.
No. Wait, the name has to be
Almova
said.
and Manova, whatever her name was.
Yeah, I'll give it to Henry now. That's it. Her name was
Pole Manova.
Pola
Yeah.
Ivanova.
Yeah, close enough.
Oh no.
I forgot about her.
Yeah, there you go.
You're gonna give me like hair loss after that, man.
So, Marion
It's gonna give
Diabo.
me ingrown hair after that.
Marion Diabo. She played. Well, she screen tested for that character in A View to a
I can't
Kill.
believe I forgot about. I mean, actually, I can't believe I forgot about her. But
There you go. So that's it. So
I never said her name and stopped saying it.
You
Like,
nearly did. I swear you nearly said Powell, but you must have
threw me off so badly.
You must have wanted to say Panho or whatever. But you said
Yeah,
you went P, and then I was like, oh, he's got it, and then you didn't get it.
Ah.
Wow, what an addition of license to quiz, may I add? I'm gonna bow out next week, so you know this is I'm enjoying this a lot.
Man, this is really the most appropriate one to have like fucking Jigsaw's like little puppet beforehand. Like that's like pure suffering.
I'm gonna do a bit of editing so it doesn't go so long, but yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
Well, that means Henry's well now it's 5-2 to Henry overall. So fortunately, that's well. I mean, license to quiz will be. I mean, license to kill. Sorry, will be for Pride, and then Tom will take the reins. So yeah, back to the film. So we're in Tangier now.
James Bond film again after that.
We're in Tangier now, and you know, Timothy Dalton has continued the consecutive mantle of having ridiculous sunglasses in a public environment. He goes to meet Pushkin, who to this point
I love his
a bit of an
appearance.
elusive name. But this is John Rhys Davis, who was also obviously in Star Wars. No, was he in Star Wars? He was in Indiana Jones and the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, don't forget Shogun as well. You know.
Was he? Oh, I don't know. I've never seen Shogun, but yeah, he was in the Lord of the Rings and in Indiana Jones and in Bond. So you know,
I gotta love though,
like Christopher Lee. You know, he's just been in everything.
Yeah, I gotta love though, like, because he goes into his room, right, and like his wife or girlfriend, whatever, is like kind of like shocked, and he's like kind of like, what's wrong, and then like close the door, and then Bond's right behind him. I really like that.
Yeah. Yeah, basically I mean, long story short, I mean, there's some great writing and acting and dialogue happening here, but
we won't know what happens unless Pushkin.
Yeah, that's right. They basically agree to, fake Pushkin's death, right?
That's such a good line though that he delivers, like, then I must die, like while he's in this, like, he's like Bond doesn't, get on your knees, hands behind your head,
That's
like,
right. And the music and stuff, and Bond's like proper assassin at this moment, man. This is what Timothy Dalton's perfect for this moment. And what's great is they say that, but they don't explain it. They don't beat you over the head with exposition.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so this is the plan, and then start whispering in his ear.
That's just such a good like transition. Like just like I must die, and then that's it.
Yeah, and then we cut to because obviously Necros and the other chaps, they've agreed that they should kill Pushkin as well after 24 hours or something.
Yeah.
So Pushkin and Bond and Necros are all in the same room now, and Pushkin stands up to go and do a speech. He gets shot.
Yeah, like 3 times as well, like all in like the same spot, basically. Just like how good of a shot Bond.
Yeah, not by Necros either. Necros is getting ready to.
Yeah,
and what I love is when he turns the spotlight onto Bond, and then Bond does again like the gun barrel stance.
I love that bit.
Great shot. Shoots out the lights, which is great, as you would do. and makes his escape.
Man, I love the bit as well. They're like, obviously for all the media, they've got like Pushkin going through like,
Yeah,
and then
what
like
the
with
fuck
his
not?
wife, he's like sobbing, and then like they put him in like a room on his own along with his wife, and she's like crying, man. And then he like he's just kind of like, like looks at
Yeah,
her.
yeah. It's perfect. Very well executed. No pun intended.
Yeah, I
Um,
think, yeah, this is. I'm kind of glad they don't have Gogol for this because like
he'd
he
have
would not have
ruined
been
it.
able to do it.
No, this is just like really good plot, in a Bond film. I really enjoy this. It doesn't treat the audience like an idiot. It kind of like lets you kind of work out what's happened. So
Yeah,
that's good to an extent.
yeah.
Which
Bond has to like
yeah,
escape from his life through like these like rooftops as
yeah.
well.
Now let's talk about the infamous deleted scene just for a moment.
Yeah, the flying carpet, man.
Yeah, if you haven't
Oh,
seen this, go on YouTube and type in James Bond flying carpet or Living Daylights flying carpet and have a look.
this is
It's
like something
ridiculous.
that had to have been like they must have thought like Roger Moore might have still been here, maybe when they were
Yeah,
making.
Roger Moore could have pulled that off, but yeah, I'm so glad they didn't put Timothy Dalton through. I mean,
I
they
mean,
did, and
the thing
then
is,
didn't
he
include it in
did.
the final
I
cut.
like how he still had to like I mean, he still had to shoot this scene,
Yeah,
and he was like, he just played it off as best he could, but it's just kind of like, no, you would
it's way
never.
too stupid. Yeah,
And then there would have been
Roger
a bit
Moore
of
could have
like,
done it in Octopussy. That'd have been fine, but
but I think
this,
do you reckon it was just so they can have like the double taking guys who are like, oh yeah, man, I told you this is good stuff, like who are like on like their shisha stuff.
it is quite funny to watch that scene and just go. I'm glad that scene exists, but definitely that it was cut
Yeah,
from the
that's not in the film. I
decision.
mean,
Yeah. Um. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty standard, like rooftop kind of chase. It's quite good. Um. And then yeah. Uh. Oh, and then
it's
Bond gets
CIA
picked up
abduction.
by a couple of women who take him over to go and meet Felix Leiter. Now, for me, you can completely cut this from the film. This is
Yeah,
totally unnecessary.
I think it's just so they can say, oh yeah, we know what Brad Whitaker's doing or something.
Yeah, literally. Oh yeah. Oh, I'm from the CIA. We've been working at this from opposite ends. Wow, how about that? We're both in Tangier. Great. Yeah,
How crazy.
it's
Maybe it's just a way
stupid.
for Bond to escape. I don't know. I mean, he could have escaped in many
Yeah,
ways.
true, but it's just like yeah, I didn't. I wish they cut light from this film altogether. It's just a gripe that I have a little
Yeah,
bit.
we should have cut from the next one too.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Um. Okay, so then Bond he goes back and meets Kara, in a much more exotic, accommodation,
yeah.
and she spikes Bond. So
Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, I guess he wasn't thinking. Maybe he actually fancied her by this point, so he wasn't
he
thinking.
definitely had he let his guard down
Yeah,
around her.
because
That's
he,
for
he
sure.
went he went for the whole drink. He didn't even realize she wasn't drinking at all.
Yeah, that's right. He was probably like
Also,
very much enjoying that drink as well. After what his
yeah,
day's been like.
yeah. Just as a side note, as someone who like has prepared like quite a lot of different cocktails before, she barely shakes that thing, man. It's just
Oh
like she's
yeah,
like
yeah, that's
putting
right.
and
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
it. And then he's like, oh yeah, you remembered, except you didn't shake it all. But anyway, like
She gave it a token shake. Maybe she pre-shook it and then just showed like
yeah,
just to
I know
show
how
the
to do
movement.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. Yeah. So that was good. He has just enough time before he passes out to explain that he can be trusted and
Yeah, I was just about to shoot. I was the guy supposed to shoot you.
yeah.
Like,
And then Necros walks in and Bond's so dozy he like can't even aim properly, which
I
is
kind of
great.
love that though, because like at
It's
the same
great.
time,
Yeah.
he's too out of it to actually aim. You get like the shot of like his
Yeah. POV. Yeah. Very good.
quintuple vision or whatever, and then
Yeah.
Necros is just like you get like a slight grin from him, and he's just kind of stood there like he's there, like yeah, fuck you, mate. Like
Yeah.
it's like power move.
Yeah. Then Bond and Kara flown over to Afghanistan.
Yeah, with his where they find there's a heart hidden in diamonds or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Bond knows what a human heart looks like apparently. So
Well, I think he would be required to know that kind of thing.
yeah, I
He would
know.
be able to
I
tell
like
the
his
difference between an animal heart and a human heart.
yeah, I like he had like they had to give Bond like a fake ID or something, which is like Jersey Bondov or something like, which I just thought was kind of funny.
Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah, they just get put in prison in the Soviet air
yeah,
base.
Kara gets turned on hard, man, which is like it's horrible what happens to her. Like even though Bond, warns her effectively, it's still like very hard. You're at this point, Kara's almost like us. She's like the audience in the film, effectively. And it's very hard to like watch her like get turned on by Koskov. He just like I'm feeling generous. You can go and work in the Siberian Orchestra. Oh, they're quite cold. So but still, it's just like that was a pretty shitty thing to do. So like
Yeah,
just like
exactly.
that. It just shows like how much of a coward Koskov is as well. He waits to the last minute to tell her that, and then just like
Yeah, exactly.
expects that he'll never see her again. So he's
This
like,
is why. This is why I don't think he's like. I mean, his actor isn't. Probably isn't perfectly suited for this, but the fact that I mean, what he's written as is actually very good. I think the fact that he is kind of like, he
he's a
really,
coward.
he
Yeah.
is a coward, and he's like a real like, isn't. It's not even out of just like being fearful. He's just because he's a massive like bastard, like.
Yeah,
Like,
true.
he's like, I mean, I mean, it's better done, I think, obviously with Kamal Khan, who's like trying to weasel out of it by the end of the film. Still, I mean, he also does that here, but it's just not to the same extent.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I like how he gets put in prison with this other guy who's like this like psychotic prison guard as well. He's like, yeah, got good
Yeah.
news for you. You won't be hung in the morning. You'll be
Almost
shot.
turns very dark, man. He's like about to basically rape Kara as well, which is like, pretty like, you're like, oh shit. It was kind of like in Never Say Never Again as well, where you have like, Kim Basinger about to be auctioned off. You just have a glimpse into very extremely dark world that exists, but they just cut it short, fortunately for them.
Yeah. So yeah, like Bond kind of distracts him, I
Like
guess.
he literally goes to like tear her clothes off, man. It's like the guy barely closes the door, before like getting on with. I don't know. It's very
Yeah,
disturbing.
yeah, Bond manages to like distract him a bit. Like 'cause he goes down to like pick up his keychain. Like
Oh
he
yeah,
knocks it down. He's like, "Yeah, I didn't tell you to get down. I didn't tell you to get back up either. Now get up."
yeah. Um,
It is good though because they managed to make this. They make you like really hate this prison guard in the span of like 30 seconds, so they don't have to like have an extended bit of them torturing him or something to like get the point across.
yeah. And then so Bond manages to fight them off. Kara
Yeah,
helps out as well, to be fair.
yeah, because he is
And
handcuffed throughout most of this fight.
it's a good fight as well. You have the spike there as well and all that sort
Yeah,
of
he nearly
stuff.
gets
So.
like stabbed through the head.
Yeah, and you've got like Jihadi John's in there as well. Like for some
Jihadi
reason
John.
you're helping out. So yeah. um, and Bond throws in the keys at the end, which is a decision he'll live to
Be glad
thank
about.
himself for. Yeah, exactly. Because basically, they escape from this jail, jump over the fence, and he's nearly killed. Like walks into like an
Yeah.
ambush, and then Jihadi John jumps over the fence as well. And goes,
Jihadi John, man.
"Don't worry, they're with me." And Bond basically joins the Taliban. So
Nah, this is something I have to like go on, man. This is like historically illiterate people, man. This is the Mujahideen, which was like against the Soviets in the 80s, right? And the Taliban arose in like the 90s or something, which is like a very small group of people.
But Taliban's still like a mutation of, or at
Yeah, but
least
it's like a very
splinter group
small
of the
group of them
Mujahideen, man.
left to be. It's like saying like, like I mean, this is something else. It's like saying an entire party like would split off and then like a tiny bit would go off to become like the Nazis.
Yeah, I don't know, Henry. You've seen Four Lines, man. You know who the Mujahideen are.
Yeah,
They're
I
not
think you're like
free.
I
You're
don't
like
know.
freedom fighter versus terrorist. It's
Yeah,
it's just one of
this
those
is the
things, isn't it?
problem though. It's like
You
like
don't.
everyone just sees like someone who's like Middle Eastern looking with like a like I don't know the head.
No, it's not
head.
like that, Henry. They like Bond repeats Mujahideen
Yeah,
multiple
but
times.
it
Like,
is the
yes,
Mujahideen, and
we're
at this
joining the
point,
Mujahideen now. It's like, oh, okay.
yeah, but yeah, no, but like in four lines, like the Mujahideen, they're calling it because they think the Taliban and Mujahideen are like, no, you're terrorist organizations, man.
Well, yeah.
And also, they do show the Mujahideen in this aren't exactly like the nicest people ever. Like they are like
Well,
beating.
that's my point. So there's no need to defend them. It's just Bond just teams up with the convenient people at the time, and it is, to quote Max Zorin, a convenient coincidence that he's in the same, prison as this guy, and it happens to rescue, the leader of these guys, who was also
it's the main.
educated at Oxford, which is, very
Yeah,
helpful
I
as
mean,
well.
if it's the main Soviet airbase in Afghanistan, and these guys' base is nearby, it would make sense they captured this guy of all people.
But they don't know that he's the leader, right? They just think he's a random
Yeah, because they all just think yeah,
random
because
guy.
they probably have the mindset of, oh yeah, they all look the same, and he probably didn't say much, so.
Maybe. Yeah. Well, yeah, for sure. So they're taking. So yeah, they go and sit in their sort of palace kind of thing, their hideout. Um, you know,
Yeah,
the
there's like
Mujahideen will
a
look after us. Don't worry.
yeah.
And
I love as well how like he's like having a chat with the leader, to be like, oh yeah, I need hands to like invade
oh
this
yeah,
place and
this
stuff.
kind of annoys me a little bit. Like it's almost like some like slapstick comedy. Like
Or they're all laughing at him.
yeah,
I think it's just
that was
to
annoying.
I don't know. I kind of think it's the fact that it's like so like the plan actually does, if you think about it, sound ridiculous, but he literally has no other option really. Um, I think it's just to say like, yeah, this is like would be a suicide mission normally. Um, but as well, there's kind of a
Well,
funny
without wanting to make an inappropriate joke, I don't
yeah.
think that's something that's ruled out in that kind of organization. So
Man. Well, yeah, you think they're all the same, man. But anyway, there's quite a funny part where like there's like a blooper of the scene where like um like they're all acting very obviously very seriously. He's having this discussion with him. But then one of them goes to show him the door and he pulls off the doorknob. Like so they
really,
all just start laughing on set, man. And like I don't know how they managed to film again after that, but
that's funny.
yeah.
um, and yeah, anyway, so then they go and like they're like, all right, well, we can't go tonight, but we'll go tomorrow morning. So now this is funny as well. Bond ends the scene like with Kara in his arms. And it's funny because Timothy Dalton's Bond. It's always like, oh yeah, he never got the girls stuff. He clearly does. I mean, I don't know what else he's spent all night doing,
Yeah.
but I think it's very clear what's implied there
I
effectively.
like though, like, because I don't know, like, I guess she's not really, she's kind of new to all this stuff. Being like, why do you have to go out and get yourself killed again, like in the next morning? It's like you have a death wish basically, and he's just like,
Yeah,
yeah, but I've got to kill Koskov, so yeah, and also it's my job.
yeah, and they have like again, it's just it feels very organic, like their chemistry and the development of their relationship, where she's hitting him with the pillow and stuff, and he genuinely like it's funny, like he's a bit disarmed at that moment, so it's
Yeah,
like
because she's like they're having an argument, but it's because she actually cares about him, so
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly, and he like laughs off, and they just like start laughing. It's really very nicely done. It's
yeah, it's like,
nice.
yeah, I'll be back, like I'll definitely live through this. I know because I checked the script, like
Yeah. So that was a nice moment. So then at dawn they ride off and go and do a big opium deal. So as you
yeah,
do.
literally. He's like looking at this. So not the first time that like Bond has tasted raw opium. He's like, look, this is raw opium. Like,
Yeah. Oh, my favorite.
yeah, exactly.
um,
Like brings a bag with him.
and I like it as well because like the Mujahideen leader guy, he's like, well, he's almost a bit embarrassed. He has to explain like, oh, this is just purely for the cause, like,
Yeah,
don't
exactly.
worry. And Bond's like, don't worry, I'll let you off, mate.
I do.
And
Yeah, I think it's fair that they don't sugarcoat it. Like unlike in like like Rambo 3, where it's just like, yeah, we love these guys.
yeah, true. And then yeah, so Bond Bond has again another very close shave with Necros, which just again builds and builds
Yeah,
towards their eventual
just sees.
confrontation.
I mean, it's like, haven't I seen you before, like somewhere? And he's like,
And I like the way Bond sneaks onto the truck, and then sneaks back off it is even funnier. But yeah, so that he gets on the truck, and this is like improvised, I think, isn't it? Like Bond just takes the opportunity to get in there and be
yeah,
driven over to wherever they're going, and well, back inside the military base, the airport, and then obviously Kara is like, oh, we can't leave him,
he's
and
just
the
gonna
guy's like,
dive
well,
out.
this is what he wants, we've done our bit, and then she goes, no, you can do a bit more, and she takes like the AK from him and like goes riding off, man. She's
Yeah.
like leading the Taliban for a moment there, and you're like, oh wow, um. And then he goes like, and this is again the moment. It's like the cello moment. It's like, okay, I don't think they would go and help her, but it's like, okay, they go.
It might be, but also he does owe Bond his life as well. The other guys are kind of like, yeah, man, you're not a real one if you don't follow, like
And I
like
think he doesn't want to get shown up by a woman as well. It's like,
yeah,
oh,
that
it would be
too.
like, oh yeah, she's braver than you, basically, sort of thing. So yeah, he
Mm.
does. She puts pressure on him. Again, that's what I really like about Kara. She does care, and she does have a lot of agency. She didn't have to do that, but she goes and like makes
Yeah,
a decision and
I think it
then
also shows she
changes the film
obviously she
basically.
does care about Bond as well in this too. So
Exactly, and Bond might, and she, decides the outcome of the film effectively of the plot. She plays a really important part, which I really like. Um, So yeah, so then we have this battle at the airport,
Yeah,
which is really cool. I mean, lots going on. You've got like a
plenty of it.
digger. you
Yeah, I
know,
love that. He's
um,
that guy's enjoying himself, man. Like, not
and
the last time someone in the Bond film was driving a piece of construction equipment at someone. Well, not
uh,
driving it, but in Skyfall, where he's
yeah,
like
and then
on the
in
truck.
Casino Royale as well.
Yeah, you're right.
So yeah, that's cool. Yeah, it's weird
Uh,
how often the digger gets used. I didn't realize that until I watched this. Oh yeah, you get basically 3 diggers in Bond, so that's interesting.
yeah,
Move.
yeah, I
What's the
like
matter with this thing?
nice. But anyway, yeah, I'm just trying to look at my notes because there's so much that goes on throughout this. Um, what was it?
Well, a lot of stuff happens, and Bond eventually
Because
gets
he gets
control of.
recognized on the plane, and he's trying to
Yeah,
fly
that's great when he steps off the plane and then looks. He like locks eyes with
Koskov,
Koskov and Necros. Yeah, man, it's like, oh shit.
and everyone's shooting at him. But like, and also another thing,
Jazz music stops.
yeah,
Like,
and also one thing that like they almost never seem to like that never happens to Bond, it happens to others. Though he actually runs out of bullets in his AK, and he's like, oh shit, like he's really like cornered there. It's not
yeah,
last time he runs out of bullets either in a fight.
yeah.
It's like it was ridiculous, man. I remember in like some Bond films, like he'd be shooting from a pistol like 15 times or something, and like doesn't reload. I'm like, man, it's got to be the highest magazine I've seen in my life. But
Yeah.
um,
So he gets on the plane. He's driving the plane away, and then Kara.
is in a Jeep.
I'm not really sure what she's got in mind here. This is a bit where she does come across as being a bit dumb, but she's like driving alongside him and like waving at him and stuff. And then
Yeah, they're
he
trying to
thinks,
like
oh,
signal
yeah,
to each other.
yeah, and it's cute, but it's also like, yeah, unfortunately, and I don't know how physically possible this is, but maybe it is doable.
Well,
He lowers the gate at the back, and then she drives up it, somehow.
so like this is like an advanced version of the Italian job, while also being
Yeah.
it's
Very
like
long
so
runway
I
you've
don't
got
know
there
if
as
you
well,
thought about this as
presumably.
well. Like the bit where like she's trying to communicate with him like through the plane, like reminds me of like Liar Liar at the end, which is like
Yeah,
completely
and
like
you've
tonally
actually
different.
got a little Captain Scarlet moment as well in the second episode, where like the plane nearly clips the one that's
Oh
landing.
yeah, as well. I forgot that happens as well.
Yeah.
Like oh shit, and like because he's flying like the heaviest plane on the
Yeah.
planet as well. Like is to and I like you actually at least see is that he's really trying to like pull the plane up for this. Surprised doesn't like strike the tail on the runway doing that. But
Hmm.
yeah, because like this is like cruel as well from like Necros and like Koskov because they're also trailing her in a jeep with a fucking like chain gun on it, trying to gun her down as well.
Yeah.
Like because he's not even going for the plane because obviously he doesn't want to damage it.
Yeah.
Which is like really saves Bond's bacon the fact that he's got 500 million on.
Yeah.
But like he's literally going solely just to gun down his girlfriend. Like what? Like this
Yeah.
guy. Like that. I think that partially, at least for me, sells the fact this guy's like a piece of shit. That like is the thing that
And
makes.
I like that Necros, well, attempts to jump from the plane, but you don't actually see that he does it.
Yeah,
So he just
yeah,
jumps,
and
and then
it's
they
like
cut, and then you don't see till later. That's a great little bit of.
there's so much that's going on. You actually forget that Necros has gone in there. Like
Exactly. Um, so then Bond lets. Oh yeah, Bond lets Kara get hold of the controls while he goes to defuse a bomb.
yeah,
As he's doing so, Necros finally gets his hands on
yeah.
Bond.
He puts a net over him, man, and like
Yep.
Timothy's never looked so like destroyed in any film. Like his like face is getting like squashed like a
Oh,
plant
well,
man.
you've seen the end of Hot Fuzz. I'd debate
Well,
that.
yeah, true.
But
It's
Bond versus Necros. This is what we've all been waiting for now. And it's a very unorthodox fight, isn't it? Because
yeah.
it's not like they're standing up like trading blows. This is
Yeah, like Kara's trying to get like a kill assist by like opening the back of the plane and then like just dumping them both out, man. Like,
yeah.
because they're holding on to like the net with the bags of opium and stuff.
This is
Like,
such a creative fight. This isn't like a rehash of a train fight or, which is there's nothing wrong with that. But it's phenomenal how they film this. I don't know. I'd like to watch something about that after
yeah,
done this. What an incredible bit of film work. I mean, the director is John Glenn. Like, hats off to him. Like, I mean, they really pulled off some very ambitious stuff in this film, and this is probably the pinnacle of that. And it's Bond versus Necros. Of course, you got the music going, of course, and
yeah,
the only thing I don't like is I mean, the ending is fine. How he eventually
Yeah, 'cause he's
loses.
like cutting away his boot, which is
Yeah,
hilarious.
why isn't Necros grabbing onto the net? Why is he specifically clinging onto his boot for dear life? That's kind of a bit.
I don't know.
But he's not exactly going to like
I mean, in
slit
fairness,
his
it's
throat
probably
and then
quite
let
hard
him
to,
drop,
like-
is he? He's not going to like cut his fingers off and stuff, is he? So
I mean,
they got to
to
keep
be
it
fair,
PG.
'cause he ended up because like he's like I don't know he ends up like moving like I don't know, he ends up grabbing the boot at some point during the fight, but like you can't really hold on to that one hand because it's probably quite slippery, if that makes sense.
Mm,
But
yeah, but you still, even when you lose grip of that, you go and like claw for the net. Because as he falls off, he's still holding the boot. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, true.
that's
But like I mean,
faintly
also given the
ridiculous.
fact like how far like the wind is probably pushing you as well, like when you're flying in a plane that fast. I
Yeah,
don't know. Anyway, and also they still have to deal with the fact the bomb's going off as well.
yeah,
Like,
that's right. So Bond that gets like thrown. It looks very painful the way he lands back in
yeah, and
there.
I forgot that the bomb was still
Yeah, and
going.
then the
It's
bomb's
like,
there, and he's like, got to
and
turn
they're
off.
all in these identical bags, because like he
Yeah,
just
yeah,
has a
yeah.
sigh of relief, and then he hears the ticking. He's like, oh shit, like
Yeah,
because
and
it's
then
like
it's like 2 seconds to go, defeats it, and then he goes to the cockpit, and then Kara's about to crash the plane, so then he has to pull it up. It's
he
like,
has to go through so much stuff. Like he has to go through the
yeah,
military base. He has to fight Necros. He has to defuse his bomb. He has to stop this plane from getting destroyed as well. And then
yeah,
later on, after bombing a bridge so the Russians can't like get the Mujahideen,
yeah,
he's
they
like,
run out of fuel.
I've run out of fuel. We're gonna have to think of something here. Use this convenient Jeep parachute escape thing. Like,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah, that's and I mean, I can just about buy that they could get out of that alive, but certainly not in driving condition, which they do. They just like drive off, like, oh yeah, that was fine. This car's totally built to like be parachuted off the back of a
I
crashing
mean, it is
plane.
built. I mean, it is a feature built into the plan. I assume they must have tested it at some point, but it's not so
Mm.
bad that you can't like hand wave it. I
What
mean,
is bad is when it cuts away and then the plane is back like 300 feet in the air. So.
yeah, yeah.
But we'll let it off. I think it's very ambitious. They have to get them back on the ground somehow. Although actually I did question why don't they have parachutes in this plane? Just
Maybe they
normal
have to
parachutes.
unloading them. Like
There's no
maybe
there's no just two
maybe the
parachutes.
Russian, yeah, maybe the Russians have spent so much buying this opium they'd run out of money for parachutes.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you'd have a couple of parachutes there, but it does give Bond the opportunity to say, "Oh, I know a good restaurant in Kabul." Is it? So
Yeah, Kabul.
Kabul, yeah. Okay, then we get to, I mean, we had just
Oh,
such a
that's
great
right.
climax. Then here's your fourth act.
I
I don't know
don't
why you
mind this
like.
fourth act. I don't know why you hate it.
Oh, this is awful. Tom, you still
Nah,
with
I
us, by
like
the way?
because like I mean
I've been
for
here almost the
Whitaker
whole time.
Okay.
yeah, for Whitaker, like he kind of gives him a little bit of like this is his moment where he gets like finally get to use all these weapons. So you could have been a live
No, no,
rich
no,
man.
no, no. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves. First of all, Lysa is like guiding millimeter precision, with millimeter precision, Bond into the lair. Like, okay, now curl your fingers into a fist. Now, thrust it forwards in this moment. It's just like stupid, man.
I don't know. I never
It's
mind.
just they're forcing Felix, like, just get rid of him, cut him out of this film. He doesn't add anything. He's just annoying. Um, anyway, and then Bond, yeah, comes to confront Whitaker. You have a funny bit of dialogue where he goes, "Oh, you burned up $10 million, $100 million." He's like, "Yeah." Bond doesn't give a fuck, man. He's like, "Yeah, I did."
Yeah,
And Brad Whitaker is obviously incredulous to that. So
I do. Yeah, he's like you could have been a live rich man, or but now you're gonna be a poor devil. I like
that's a good
Whitaker
line.
because I do like as well that he's like Bond only can really sneak up on him because he's like too busy on his like board he's fighting like his little like battle like reenactment. He's like that he's like Bond's like, oh well, this is just to show off his knowledge. Actually, during this battle they did this or something. He's like,
Yeah,
and he's like, I'm doing it the way I would have
yeah,
done it.
yeah, yeah.
Like he made this massive mistake, and then he just goes on for a bit, and then Bond's just like, I'm literally holding you at gunpoint.
And a moment we forgot to mention earlier as well. Well, I sort of skipped over it. Was when Pushkin meets Whisker and exposes him for like being a fraud, man. Because
Oh, I love
Whitaker's
that.
surrounding himself with all this war memorabilia, and he's got
Yeah,
his
the
like
veteran.
even he's got his little butlers and stuff like all like doing all this. It's so embarrassing. And then as it turns out, like Whitaker's
Yeah,
like
he was cheating
actually
and like,
Yeah, he's just done like a bit of training
Yeah,
effect.
if I even found it, yeah, he was like
Dishonorable discharge for cheating, isn't it, or
yeah,
something?
yeah, he's expelled from West Point for cheating, like,
Really
and then
embarrassing.
ends up like doing like goons work kind of
And that's a
stuff.
great moment when like Pushkin comes and exposes him. It's like
As
that's
well,
very satisfying, isn't it?
I kind of like with this as well. He does because I mean I mean at least Whisker thinks he's a tactician at the end of the day because
Yeah.
Bond doesn't know these like tables open up like this.
Yeah,
He like remotely pushes them with one of them,
yeah.
which like I don't know how like the force of it would push him over, but still,
Oh, that would
it
certainly hurt your shins, wouldn't it?
yeah, true. I mean, I don't know. Anyway, um, he does catch him off guard, and like he has this like he's obviously just trying to shoot. Like Bond tries to shoot him, but I don't know. It's so dark in here. You probably can't tell that this has got like a facial shield. Like, and
Mm.
I do kind of like the effect of it at least. Like he shoots the exact same spot like 8 times, like which shows he's a like pinpoint shot. And I don't know if this is a callback to Doctor No. It's like now you've had your 8. You've
Yeah,
had your 8. Now have my 80. And he just starts like
yeah, yeah,
spraying.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and then he hides behind the Waterloo pillar and activates the bomb there. I just think it's a bit convenient the way like topples over exactly onto him and it just crushes. It's a little bit like I don't know. I mean, for that to be kind of, I think all the villain deaths aren't that great. Just like their final moments are all just a bit
in
like
this one,
weird.
no.
Necros holding onto a boot while he's falling to his death is a bit, and then I don't know.
I think Whiskey, it's only funny because like he's literally fallen victim to his own like kind of.
Yeah,
It's like a worse version of Scaramanga's like getting fallen victim to his own
pretty
plot.
much, pretty
Really.
much, yeah.
But
Um,
but it's quite funny that it's like he's had his Waterloo kind of thing.
yeah, that was a
The
good one.
ultimate defeat of like someone who I mean because he thinks he's Napoleon, so he can die in the same way. Um,
Yeah.
at least
Um, yeah, that's right. And then you've got and then everyone rocks up. Pushkin's there. Pushkin actually saves Bond's life, which is cool.
yeah, because
Uh,
a guard pops out and like Bond's like, oh, I ain't got any more ammo, and then I don't
yeah,
know why like he's got. I mean, he must have nicked one of like Costco. I don't know. He must have nicked a rifle from here, or he just had one on him. And, like
yeah.
Koskov has been hiding here in like the back or something the whole time. So yeah. Oh, I'm so glad you got it. I've been held here for days, and then he's just like, yeah, send him on the first plane to Moscow. He's like, oh, thank you so much in a diplomatic bag,
That's the worst. That's because it's not even a
Really?
Bond. It's not even a death. It just happens off screen. It's like whatever. I
I mean, it's
don't
not.
like
I
that.
think it's kind of funny though. Like, and it's
It's
appropriate
fitting,
for him.
but it's fitting for the character, but not the film. Not a Bond film, certainly.
I think. I mean, for the writing, it wouldn't make sense for Bond just to execute him on the spot because he needs to be tried in Moscow.
I know, it all adds up, but
It's
it
not
just doesn't fit.
satisfying.
It doesn't fit what you come to expect from a Bond film, and not in a
I
good way
think
either.
I think to be fair though, like what I think you just have to fill in the blanks of what they're going to do to him, like because there's like a guy who's defected from the USSR who's like basically trying to get the KGB head killed. I don't know what sort of torture they're going to put him through, but you just kind of have to. It's probably too dark to fill in the blanks.
Yeah, but still, I still don't think. I think they could have just. I think they just. I feel like they ran out of time. They just. Oh yeah, what are we going to do with this guy? Oh, let's just do. Yeah, send him to Moscow. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, what else
I
are you
just think
going
that's a
to do
bit
for him?
weak. That's all.
I mean, maybe if he had also popped out and started trying to kill Bond, it'd be like him trying to outwit
Yeah,
Bond.
that's what I mean. I wanted some like Bond's dispatch him with a gadget again or something. Just that's what I want. Yeah, I want him to pop up and just go. What if like Koskov panics and then goes, oh no, and then like tries to reach for a weapon and then like something like that. That's that have something a bit more satisfying than just oh yeah,
Maybe,
see you
yeah.
later.
I mean, I'll definitely give you that. It would have been cooler, but
If he just does some like desperate panic button, like oh he'd rather. I know he's a coward, but I'm sure he'd rather like get killed than like taken alive and tortured. If
yeah.
that's what is being implied, then I'm sure he would like rather go down dying, perhaps.
Yeah, but he doesn't. The thing is that he doesn't. I mean, maybe after that, but he's already being held like by these guards. So
Yeah, true. But I just think if he has a chance to wriggle free or like try and bargain his way out and then just tries to lunge for a gun or something, that would, that's more of a fourth act for me than Brad Wicker. That would actually make the ending far better for me. But.
but I do kind of like he like literally to the end. He is like being like slimy coward.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think, Tom? You've been very quiet.
I don't have many strong feelings about it. I think it's very weekend, but appropriate for the wrong reasons because the villain himself is also
Yeah.
very weak throughout the whole the whole film. And
He's a weak
yeah,
kind of person though in general though, because he always has to like hide behind other people like Necros. He has to,
a
he can't
Bond
even,
villain, a
say I'm gonna
Bond
send my
villain,
girlfriend to her doom like until the last second.
Bond villain has to be like some sort of like obstacle for Bond to overcome, or like they have to show like some sort of threat or like
Yeah.
intellect or ulterior planning or some way of escaping, or and he just it's so undignified and it's so but
Yeah.
suitably so because he was just so like weak throughout the whole film anyway, and I've never heard anybody say anything to the contrary really.
Yeah, no, but
Yeah.
that's like, most people don't think that Car is good, but it doesn't mean it's true. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah, but
but
I think
she
Tom's right when he
yeah,
compared it with
he
Kamal
makes some
Khan.
good
Kamal
points,
Khan's a
but
much better illustration of that kind of person. Kamal Khan doesn't have a fight either, but he's far more intimidating. I mean, I don't, and I actually one of my criticism of Kamal Khan was that he's not menacing enough, but he's certainly more menacing than this guy.
yeah,
I
I mean,
When he's
liked
effectively playing the same
they
role.
really could have
what
improved him, I still
what
think, but
the thing with
at the
Kamal
end of the day, it's
Khan
what you
is
got.
Kamal Khan like came across as a bit of an escape artist almost in
Yeah.
he always like has something up his sleeve to like get out. He like gets away from the circus even though the calmness doesn't start, and then
Yeah.
he when his base gets wrecked, like he has a plane which is very
Yeah,
cool. It's
ready for takeoff. Yeah, that's right.
very very in character, but this guy just gets like apprehended immediately, and it's
Yeah.
I mean, he's hiding out with like Whitaker as well, which I
yeah.
think is kind of funny.
Whitaker has such like contempt for him. He's ready to like sell him out like without banging eyelids as well. It's just
Yeah, but that's Whitaker, man. He does everything for money.
Yeah.
yeah, but like there's no character who's like the only one who like obeys him to any remote degree is like Necros, and that's
Yeah,
it.
exactly. And that's why
Uh,
Necros is just the best villain
Yeah,
by
true.
far in
Necros is
this.
like the main villain of this even.
He is effectively, even though he's the henchman. And I think that's an indictment on the villains more than his. Anyway, we just need to
Oh,
wrap up with this final scene. We see Goggle for the last time, thank God.
I like
Um,
there's a bit of the concert as well. I just like the bits in the
the
concert.
Mujahideen, barge in as well.
Yeah, it's like we had a difficult time in the airport.
in
It's like yeah,
in
you
I
lot.
don't know if you know this, but in the final concert it is actually John Barry
Yeah,
himself
that's right.
Yeah, he's doing the
conducting it.
conducting. Like
Yeah, that's
I
great.
really like the fact because like Kara's having a world tour. She's like like living her dream.
Yeah.
And because I actually forgot about this, like, like where does Bond pop up in this?
Hmm.
Because like she goes back like, oh, it's a shame 007 couldn't have been here. And then
Yeah, and there's a
she's like,
sadness in her eyes, It's just like,
yeah, because
yeah.
she notices the martini glass, and I think my favorite part is the fact that she knows like the whistle tune to his
Yeah.
like the gadget. There's like another time they use it, but it's not to like dispatch anyone. It's just
Yeah.
like a funny thing,
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, I found you, sort of.
Yeah.
And then they have the off-screen hand holding scene. So because of because there was like the AIDS crisis during this time, so they didn't want to like I don't know what it
Yeah, yeah,
was
yeah.
like.
It's very, very nicely done. Very nice ending. It's a happy ending. And I really like it. It's just
Yeah.
a very nice note to end the film on, I think.
Mm.
So yeah, that's the Living Daylights.
Yeah, so now onto the rankings.
Now,
The ever
I just want to
expanding
preface
list.
this. I just want to preface this by saying I've not looked forward to a ranking section more than this. Now, this is like purely because of Henry's like
Most
bias
niche
for this film.
opinions.
So yeah, let's do it.
Right, so
Hmm.
new Bond actor. It's probably the most. I think this might be one of the most interesting rankings up until Daniel Craig. So number one is currently Sean Connery. Number two is Roger Moore, and number three is George Lazenby. Now, I mean, James already doesn't like the fact Roger Moore is second in this case. Like me as my personal ranking would put Timothy Dalton as number one, but if I'm being realistic here, I think he will go number two, above Roger Moore and below Sean Connery.
What do you think, Tom?
Like, to me, he is Bond.
In this film, I don't know, like in this film I don't think he was given like a role don't know why I'm so tired all of a sudden, but like he
Super.
he was given like to a role which like suited, I don't know, his portrayal of the character, but I do think they do it much better in the next film,
Hmm.
in my personal opinion. So I reckon for now, I think I don't know, it's even hard, like if I really put this one performance versus George Lazenby's
Yeah.
one performance, I
Ooh.
think like it feels, because George Lazenby had like so many other scenes and things he had to act out.
Yeah.
But then again, Timothy Dalton does have good chemistry with Cara a bit.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
so does George Lazenby with Diana Rigg. That's the
I know, but
thing.
I'm talking
Like,
exclusively like as James Bond. Like, how do you feel about him?
Well, we can
I'd
only
be,
Because
judge him
George
by what
Lazenby,
we've
to
I,
me,
seen.
I'm having the
he
same
isn't
inner
the
dialogue as Tom. It's him versus George Lazenby, really.
wow.
There's still another film to discuss
Yeah,
about
He's
we
it.
better
can
suited in
revisit
the
it.
next film, but still, I think this is cruel to him. Like, I would, I don't think this is a debate between George Lazenby and him. Even I think it's a
It
debate.
is. You can't put him in front of Roger Moore and Sean Connery. There's no way around that.
I think for now, a suitable compromise would be above George Lazenby and,
Man,
below the
I
other
would
two.
Yeah.
riot if it was above, if he was below George Lazenby. Yeah. Okay,
Not
so
so.
But
Not.
even though I think Tom alluded to something which is true, I think he, yeah, what Timothy Dalton does well in this film, George Lazenby effectively does as well in a different way. But like particularly with the relationship, the romance thing, that's like, yeah, George Lazenby's. Unfortunately for Timothy Dalton, it's like the one relationship in Bond that is better than that just happens to be George Lazenby's. So
yeah,
but
but then I mean,
but
Bond is
yeah,
not
I mean,
made by the relationships. I mean, he is like the most like cold-blooded assassin in this. Um, and he's like generally he's actually doing spy work for most of the
yeah,
entire.
yeah, yeah.
It's kind of like Christian Bale's Batman versus like Robert Pattinson, I think, because I don't think it's ever going to be like.
You're trying to get me there, man.
No,
No, that's not
this is
going
the
to
thing.
work, man.
It's never going to be it's never going to be the most popular opinion, but I think it's the right opinion regardless. So
Yeah, I hear that, but I mean, personally, I could happily sit by and put Roger Moore and then Timothy Dalton and then Sean Connery. I would be more comfortable with that in a way. I could justify that personally, but with the way it is now, I would say I would actually be tempted to put Timothy Dalton fourth, and then after License to Kill, put him third, something like
Well,
that.
Henry's saying
sacrilege.
second. I'm saying James is
Yeah,
saying
it has,
fourth. So let's say third for
yeah,
now.
Yeah.
third has to be the
So currently, okay, well, at that it would put Sean Connery at first, Roger Moore at second, Timothy Dalton at third, and fourth, George Lazenby.
yeah.
So that'll be it for now. Hopefully that changes in my favor, but still. Now for Bond Girl, we've got a very long list.
Yeah.
Number one, Tracy. Number two, Triple X. Number three, Domino. Number four, Conley Goodhead. Number five, Honey Rider. Number six, Miss Anders. Number seven, Octopussy. Number eight, Melina. Number nine, Tatiana. Number 10, Aki and Bond's wife, quote unquote. Number 11, Pussy Galore. Number 12, Tiffany Case. Number 13, Stacey Sussin. Number 14, Solitaire. Number 15, Goodnight. And then number 16, BB. So,
Got to be
where
a
does Cara
strong
go?
second, right?
Above Triple X?
Yeah,
Second,
yeah.
Hmm.
I don't think so. She has like.
I agree. Actually, I agree with you. Actually, looking at this list,
mm,
she has
agree
plot
with.
relevance throughout this. Like,
So you're saying she should be second then?
yeah.
Yeah.
Put her second then.
I mean, like, I think the fact that people kind of rag on her for being like, oh well, she is like kind of like too naive throughout this film. At some point, she is, but I think it makes sense for her to be.
Henry, we've already put a second, man. You don't need to.
I know. I
It's
just
fine.
wanted to
We agree with you.
elaborate that.
It's okay.
Right, time for the villain ranking though. So
Oh,
number one, and let me at least revel in the fact that Max Zorin is number one now.
what a
Number one,
great decision.
Max Zorin. Number two, Blofeld Donald Pleasance. Number three, Goldfinger. Number four, Blofeld Telly Savalas. Number five, Hugo Drax. Number six, Scaramanga. Number seven, Kamal Khan and Orlov. Number eight, Dr. Kananga. Number nine, Dr. No. Number 10, Rosa Klebb. Number 11, Largo. Number 12, Stromberg. Number 13, Christatos. Number 14, Blofeld from Never Say Never Again. And number 15, Blofeld, played by Charles Gray.
Yeah. Okay.
Where do the pair of Koskov and Whitaker go?
Can you read out the names around Rosa Klebb?
Yeah, so you got number 10 Rosa Klebb, number 11 Largo, number 12 Stromberg, number 13 Christassos, number 14 Blofeld and Never Say Never Again, and number 15 Blofeld and Charles Gray. I would put these two below Rosa Klebb. That's for like the dog.
I'd probably put them even further down, to be honest.
I'd
Below
put them.
Largo,
I'd put.
just has a look.
I'd put them. I think Stromberg's better than them even, because
Yeah.
at least he had like some sort of threat, and he was like the first truly mad villain you could say who is not going to be bargained with.
Yeah.
So, and he does. He is menacing though. He looks like some flipping gremlin just pushing buttons and exploding.
Who's below Stromberg?
Christassos.
Christassos, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably about right.
Yeah, Koskov is better in terms of like the ally to villain kind of like switch.
Yeah. I think that's about right.
Yeah, I'll let it slide here because I'm not like a crazy fan of these two, but I think they're just overhated a bit. But anyway, Koskov and
say Bond villain, like Koskov's one of the last.
Yeah, I know they're not the first one you think of. That's for sure.
So, but below Stromberg, yeah.
Yeah, below Stromberg and above Christassos.
Yeah. Okay.
Now for henchmen, this will be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Number 1, Jaws. Number 2, Odd Job. Number 3, Red Grant. Number 4, Mayday. Number 5, Gobbler and the Twins. Number 6, Teehee and Co. Number 7, Bunt. Number 8, Locke and Eric. Number 10, Winton Kid. Number 9, Winton Kid. Number 10, Nick Knack. Number 11, Fiona. Number 12, Hands. So where would Necros go?
I think maybe just above Gobinder.
Not even above Mayday. I would put him 4th below Red Grant and above Mayday.
What do you think, Tom?
I think just I don't know. It's so difficult. I reckon for someone.
Thing is, like Necros is quite. The thing I like about Mayday is she just that last moment she has like 3 dimensions, which Necros never gets to see.
Yeah, but Necros. I know, but for a henchman, you don't really need a 3rd dimension. They're just like he does his job like he's like pretending to be other people.
But Mayday's like really good. Man. I don't know. I'll let Tom decide really because I'm pretty happy if he goes. I'm happy either way, to be honest. I think.
And he literally has his own soundtrack, man. Like put it that way.
What I'm going to say is, I do like the Mayday's moment character development, but I think first and foremost a henchman has to be a henchman, and this person is like a lethal tool. He's basically the sole threat towards Bond.
Yeah, there's a reason why Bond and Mayday never fight.
Throughout the whole like film, so I think he goes above him, just above Mayday, which is nothing dishonorable.
Yeah, fair enough.
By the way, I just got a collect delivery, so I'll be 1 second.
Okay.
Sure thing, Buster. Yeah, we're gonna make all the lists without you now. Car/vehicle. This will be interesting. So number 1 we've had Aston DB5. Number 2 Little Nelly. Number 3 the Lotus. Number 4 the Tuk Tuk. Like after the Lotus, you just get the joke additions. Number 5 the Croc Sub. Number 6 the Mini Plane. Number 7 the Moonraker Boat. Number 8 the Gondola. Number 9 the Citroen, and number 10 the Moon Buggy. I would put the Vantage maybe 2nd, or maybe.
Yeah, I think
if I had to choose to have either car, I would actually have the Sovereign DB5, but still.
Yeah, I'd be tempted. I would as well personally, but it's the DB5. You can't not have that.
Yeah, that's kind of the symbol of Bond. There's like about as iconic as like Bond himself, I guess.
Exactly. So yeah, I think the Vantage definitely goes 2nd.
I don't think Tom's gonna like.
Yeah, he won't disagree with that.
Yeah, he won't disagree with that. So M still number 1 Burnley, number 2 Robert Brown. I don't think that's gonna change.
I like Robert Brown though. He gets a bit of field action at the beginning, so that's always nice to see.
Field action, man. He's sitting in a plane, like
still. Yeah. His papers get rustled, that's like.
Yeah, he has to catch some papers,
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so Q is still Desmond Llewellyn.
Yep.
Long may that continue. With Moneypenny, I've already ordered this because I'm pretty sure we agreed that Caroline Bliss goes 2nd below Lois Maxwell.
Yeah, but not because
she's not
Caroline
bad.
Bliss is bad. Exactly, she's nice. I like her.
Just like Lois Maxwell's scenes will always be like the iconic.
Yeah.
Now the Ally/Felix Leiter. It's just the long list of Felix Leiter rankings.
Yeah, but we have Saunders and Leiter.
Oh yeah, you're right. Of course. So number 1, Draco and Campbell. Number 2, Tiger Tanaka. Number 3, VJ. Number 4, Coral and Lighter. Number 5, Columbo. Number 6, Coral Jr., Lighter and Strutter. Number 7, Karen Bay. Number 6, Sir Godfrey Tibbet. Sorry, number 8, Sir Godfrey Tibbet. I'm like going insane. Number 9, Lighter from Never Say Never Again and Rowan Atkinson's character. Number 10, General Gogol. Number 11, Lighter and Goldfinger. Number 12, Lighter and Thunderball. Number 13, Hip. And number 14, Lighter and Diamonds Are Forever.
I've returned.
Where will we put
Okay.
Saunders and Lighter?
No, you got to put Saunders, Lighter, and Pushkin as allies as well.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, yeah, he's right. I don't think that really pushes him up that high. I mean, he's
I
in the
would put him
middle
above
somewhere.
Columbo. And below
No, they go below Columbo. Who's below Columbo?
Coral Jr., Lighter and Strutter.
And below that?
Karen Bay.
Yeah, I think these guys go below Karen Bay. Who's below Karen Bay? Rowan Atkinson, isn't it?
No, Sir Tibbet. I don't know, man. I really like.
Ooh,
I
Tibbet.
think Saunders is a good character in this, but
I don't like Saunders, man. Like he's
yeah, no, you're not meant
they-
to like him. That's the whole
yeah,
point.
no,
So we
but
put
like
him. So well, let's agree where we put him then. So below Tibbet, even who's below Tibbet?
Lighter from Never Say Never Again and Rowan Atkinson's character.
Yeah, I think.
Below Tibbet even.
What do you think, Tom? Below Tibbet?
I think Pushkin's pretty good. So like we got to
Oh, okay.
put him above like Tibbet. Like the other two are like not good. Like, but
I like Saunders as well, but he does. He's not really like that.
Yeah, I
memorable,
think
really.
his death is the thing that impacts the film the most. But anyway,
So,
so you're saying below Karen Bay and above Tibbet.
yeah,
All right. Right, so are we going to nominate a gadget for this?
yeah, the keyring.
keyring.
Yeah. So first, number 1, Dark Gun. Number 2, the Live and Let Die Rolex. Number 3, the attaché case. Number 4, the cigarette gun from Yellow
Oh, yeah.
Slice. Number 5, the acid pen. Number 6, Oddjob's hat. Number 7, Bond's ring camera from View to a Kill. Number 8, the rebreather. Number 9, the Wolf PPK. And number 10, the mousetrap from Diamonds Are Forever. Always forget the one.
I think it should go just below the Tashi case or the
Yeah, I
cigarette.
agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like this. I mean, I think below the attaché case is just fine because it's used.
I want to shout out the milk bottle grenades though.
Yeah, exactly. But Bond doesn't use it.
Yeah,
so.
he doesn't use them.
That I do really like this gadget because it's utilized so much throughout it. Key ring.
Did I miss any segments out by the way?
Yeah, it was just like M and.
Yeah,
money.
we
Oh,
put
yeah.
the V8 Vantage just below the DB5, I assume. So, I mean,
I think that's fair.
yeah. Now theme song. So
Oh,
number 1 on the Majesty's Secret Service. Number 2, A View to a Kill. Number 3, the James Bond theme. Number 4, Live and Let Die. Number 5, Goldfinger. Number 6, You Owned It Twice. Number 7, The Man with the Golden Gun. Number 8, For Your Eyes Only. Number 9, Never Say Never Again, which is ridiculous. But number 10, Thunderball. Number 11, Nobody Does It Better. Number 12, Moonraker. Number 13, Diamonds Are Forever. Number 14, From Russia with Love, which is a war crime. And number 15, All Time High.
Which is also
before we rank this, I do want to mention that I did actually put Never Say Never Again in my Spotify playlist since we recorded that episode. So yeah, I would put The Living Daylights below Goldfinger.
I would personally put it above Live and Let Die in terms of the ones I actually because this one I probably listened to the most other than A View to a Kill and On a Match to Secret Service, but I don't think it's better than the Bond theme itself. So
I think it goes below. Can you read out the top 5 again?
On a Match to Secret Service, A View to a Kill, the James Bond theme, Live and Let Die, and then Goldfinger.
I think it goes just below Live and Let Die.
Yeah,
Because I love Live and Let Die. It's just such a. It has
So below Live and Let Die and above Goldfinger.
yeah.
Yeah, Goldfinger's it's iconic.
Goldfinger's so iconic. I'm beginning to be uncomfortable how far down that's going.
It's only going to be well, it will be.
Goldfinger's
Well,
brilliant, man.
Look,
You know, like
look at the Goldfinger and look at all the other like old James Bond theme songs that got like shoved.
yeah, but
all the way at the
Goldfinger's
bottom.
by far the standout from that time. That's all I'm saying. I mean, I just want to put that out there.
I still think. I mean,
Living Dallas is good, but Goldfinger is.
See,
I'd just have it slightly above. But
I would put it 4th. Tom would put it 5th. You would put it 6th. So I think we're
Fifth,
ending up in the
excellent.
middle here. So
all right.
below Live and Let Die and above Goldfinger, we have The Living Daylights. So,
That's the Sigma moment, right?
well, no, not yet, because we have the opening. So,
Oh.
right. So we got The Spy Who Loved Me, number one. Number, I think number two we have Goldfinger. Number three, Octopussy. Number four, Moonraker. Number five, View to a Kill. Number six, On a Majesty's Secret Service. Number seven, The Man with the Golden Gun. Number eight, From Russia with Love. Number 10, You Only Live Twice. Number 11, Thunderball's Funeral. Number 12, sorry, number 11, Live and Let Die. Number 13, sorry, no, number 12, Fear Eyes Only. And number 13, Diamonds Are Forever. My like automatic numbering on this list is like screwing me over. So, where would we put this? Because I really like this intro. I mean,
Yeah.
I would actually put it maybe above the Octopussy one, but third.
What is it? Octopussy, then A View to a Kill, right?
No, Octopussy, then Moonraker, then A View to a Kill.
A View to a
love
Kill's above
Moonraker's
this.
opening.
Oh no, it's not. It's below, is it?
I love Moonraker's opening though, man. It's really tough one because
This is
these are
such a
all
good way to introduce a new James Bond, though.
these are all excellent. Yeah.
We got Jaws in Moonraker.
Exactly.
Yeah, but also you have like his very obvious stunt double at the end, and it turned into literally a circus.
Yeah, that's one moment though.
I know,
I'm
but
not gonna.
it's like the
I'm not
letdown,
gonna
that's why it ends up.
discredit the whole thing. Like
I know, but it's the fact that it
Yeah,
ends.
man. Any higher, Mr. Bond, I think my ears will pop.
At the beginning is good, the
premature,
middle
isn't it?
The end
You know?
is like a
Yeah.
letdown. So
Oh,
thing is just good.
Roger Moore. I think this goes above A View to a Kill. But how much higher it goes is really up to you two. I guess more Tom.
yeah, I mean, I'm saying I would put this third, honestly, below Goldfinger and above Octopussy. So
yeah, it's not going above Octopussy. Sorry.
yeah, I know, but still.
So it's
I-
above or below Moonraker then, really. But I love the opening for Moonraker.
I do as well, actually.
I
But
know
this
what
is
I'd be.
also,
I know
this
what
is
I'd be. I
also
know
exceptional.
if you
I-
if you put guns to my head and told me which one would watch, I would definitely pick this, even if I would get shot.
If they were like their own little like films, I think I don't know.
It's not even, I mean, the point of it is to set up the film most of the time. So
most of the time. So
It's really hard because Moonraker's what I love about Roger Moore's Bond. It's just like entertaining. It's just action packed. It's great. This is like completely tonally different, and you're like introducing like this assassin Bond on a mission and all that. It's very different. That's why it's hard to rank.
yeah, and they're literally just killing off 00 agents. Like there's no like tomorrow kind of.
I
It's such a
think.
good like. It's got a great stunt at the beginning.
Well, what do you
like,
think, Tom? I don't know. I can't decide if this goes above below Moonraker. I'll probably put Moonraker just because it's more memorable.
I don't know. Personally, I'm more enjoy. Naturally, I don't know. I like the entertainment of it more. So like all the jokes and stuff are like premature, isn't it? And plus, I always wondered how that flight attendant she like fly the plane herself.
yeah,
or
actually, that's a
something
good
else
question.
like
What happened to her?
that.
She had a spare parachute.
Oh yeah, I think she might have. Anyway,
Yeah, I'm.
imagine that guy starts shooting the controls, and she's like, "Hang on a minute, like,
Yeah.
hey, you're gonna take this plane down."
I'm gonna say.
Bane turns up.
I'm gonna say the intro goes just below Moonraker because
All right. Well, it's not. Yeah, being in this high up is not really.
Yeah, true. These are all exceptional. So
The
yeah,
Living Daylights. All right. So that puts it below Moonraker and above View to a Kill, which I'm not
Yeah.
complaining.
Yeah.
Now the Sigma moment, like there's a lot of Sigma material. There's like literally Sigma Bond as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So number one, Goldfinger, I own the club. Number two, yeah, a convenient coincidence, kills all of his workers and his girlfriend.
Yeah.
Number three, the backgammon scene in Octopussy. Number four, you missed Mr. Bond.
Did I?
Yeah. Number five, Red Grant. Number six, Blofeld's extortion. Number seven, Doctor No. Number eight, James, I need you. So's England. Number nine, Tracy's already a countess. Number 10, Scaramanga saying Mr. Fat has resigned. I'm the chairman of the board now. Number 11, Eric Kripke from Fear Eyes Only into Schwag. It's bad. Number 12, Blofeld, prepare my battle submarine. Number 13, David Niven. Number 14, Names for Tombstone's Baby. Number 15 for King and Country, and number 16, Q from Never Say Never Again.
Huh.
Felt
Okay.
like a journey.
What are we nominating for this? Because I think there's a lot of material.
Tough.
Like, because I think this would be one where you would nominate a character. I actually think it would either be Timothy Dalton's Bond or Necros, and I think
Yeah, I
that's
agree. Yeah, it has to be one of those two, doesn't it?
I think it is quite. I mean, even at the very beginning, that he would like. I really believe that he was just going to shoot her.
Yeah,
regardless.
yeah.
But he's only because she wasn't a professional and would have been a lead.
Yeah.
He doesn't.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't think any of the other
What
Bonds
about, is there a particular line he does, or like a moment that's particularly
would
sick?
scare the living daylights out of them.
And then what about Necros? I really like when Necros like considers his like brothers fighting in the struggle. You know, he's like, you
Yeah,
know,
true.
He's
That's quite funny.
Yeah, but there's not. Yeah, yeah.
It's
It
not
has to
standout
be.
line. It's just
I think
like
it has
their
to be
behavior
Timothy
is not
Dalton. We
helpful.
have to put Timothy Dalton somewhere. I think he's the Sigma Bond.
Right. So where would he go? I'm thinking maybe above, below Red Grant,
Yeah,
because above that you missed Mr. Bond, and then below that you have Blofeld's
yeah.
extortion.
What's below Red Grant?
Blofeld's extortion.
Yeah,
I think he goes below the extortion because, like, the thing is that he is the most Sigma Bond, but Bond isn't really meant to
He
be.
doesn't.
a Sigma
But the thing is,
character,
he
so,
literally
like,
doesn't even have an on. I mean, you don't see it. I mean, obviously it's implied, but like he never like actually bangs women in any of his films. It's just kind of like.
yeah, but we've gone from Doctor No, who like doesn't even mention any women.
yeah, yeah.
Like,
Henry, Tom's right. You know, the Sigma males are like, you know, I own the club and stuff. It's not like,
Yeah, I
it's,
know that.
It's not like, yeah, it is a little bit what you don't do, but it's more like what you do as well.
I guess in this case, would we actually do Necros then? Because he's not really
mm,
around him. He's more focused on like brothers. We have to be focused, you know, like for
I
Bond.
think whatever we nominate would have to go. Tom mentioned Doctor No. It has to go below Doctor No even.
Really, Necros.
no,
Yeah.
Timothy Dalton.
Necros
Oh.
Timothy Dalton. Mm.
Doctor No, like $1 million, Mr. Bond. You know, he's like
Yeah,
flexing
that is
his
pretty good.
tank.
To
You
be
know,
fair.
it's like
$1 million, Mr. Bond. You probably
Probably
wondered
below
how
that,
much this
actually.
is. I designed it, by the way.
Yeah,
And he also has like the stolen painting in his room.
he's a Doctor No's a Sigma male. You know.
Yeah, I think we are neglecting that.
So yeah, I think below
Alright.
him, whatever you want to put.
All right, so we're putting Timothy Dalton's Bond below Doctor No, but above so does England.
All right, I'm not even sure about that, but yeah, okay.
Just getting this in more like.
Let's get on with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cracking
Right.
dollars.
So the final ranking.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
The film. This is the moment we've been waiting for, really, apart from ranking Bond himself.
Yep.
So number 1, On Her Majesty's Secret Service. Number 2, Goldfinger. Number 3, Octopussy. Number 4, Moonraker. Number 5, The Spy Who Loved Me. Number 6, You Only Live Twice. Number 7, A View to a Kill. Number 8, The Man with the Golden Gun. Number 9, Live and Let Die. Number 10, Doctor No. Number 11, From Russia with Love. Number 12, Thunderball. Number 13, Never Say Never Again. Number 14, For Your Eyes Only. Number 15, Diamonds Are Forever. And number 16, Casino Royale. Just putting this out there, I would put this third, personally.
Third,
Yeah,
you're on
third.
something. I'm gonna say, ooh.
This is thinking about this. This film is so good. I'm literally watching it again today, like twice in a week. So
You cannot, like, no one has anything here on over how many times I've watched Octopussy throughout my life. So.
yeah, no, but I mean, as in like how frequently you are.
No,
going
it's definitely not going third. I'd put it more around. What's? Can you read out sort of like around You Only Live Twice?
Yeah, I'm hoping I didn't hear that correctly, but anyway. So above You Only Live Twice, you have The Spy Who Loved Me. Below You Only Live Twice, you have A View to a Kill, The Man with the Golden Gun, Live and Let Die.
Yeah, it's going somewhere in that area. I think maybe above You Only Live Twice.
And below The Spy Who Loved Me.
You think it goes above A View to a Kill, James?
Are you like trying to wind me up or something? This is a joke, right? Like,
No, because like
one thing.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough
in this
one.
film. Also, might I mind you, I don't think this has any pacing issues at all either. Like, there's a lot of like you're not.
Yeah, it does sag a couple of times, man. There are some like it has high highs, but it has some low lows, like with Felix Leiter, with Brad Whitaker.
The
Those
Felix Leiter scene is less than 2 minutes long. Like there,
yeah, but
I don't
it's
think
enough
they
to
have.
sour the taste, a little bit.
I don't think there's ever been enough like kind of like
It
building
is
like
nitpicky, I'll give you that.
action
But this
upon
film doesn't
action.
really excel at anything either. That's my thing. It doesn't have anything like distinctly memorable or
for
iconic.
me,
Really
I
up to
think
Jeremy Clarkson right
for
now.
me, I think the music is very top.
Oh yeah,
And
the
I
music's
think
You've also
phenomenal.
got Necros
the
in this. Like,
the car is my favorite. The thing is with
the
Necros,
chase is good.
you have loads of like flipping kind of Necros-esque like assassins and stuff in lots of these films. Like
Yeah, but he's one of the best ones. Like,
yeah, but still there's like from Rush with Love that has Red Grant, but that's all the way down there and like
yeah,
the
because it's like
So
ridiculous.
hang on. So we have The Spy Love Me, then You Only Live Twice, then A View to a Kill.
Yeah.
It's
then
got to
The
go there
Mad
somewhere,
Eye.
I think. Where would you put it, Tom?
Personally, and this is I actually debated this before, like
Yeah.
doing this podcast. I think it goes just above View to a Kill because
You only live twice.
You Only Live Twice is phenomenal, man. I don't know why you two have just like abandoned it over this.
Nah,
It's
man, I'm taking a Cold War spy film over You Only Live Twice any day. This film is like
You Only Live
this film
Twice
is like
is
was
a Cold War
like
spy.
made with me in mind. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that's your personal. I would have happily put Octopussy number one, but it's my personal thing. Like I'm not going to sit there and
Yeah, I know,
bang
but
the drum over.
I'm being honest with where
And yeah, this is where I get a bit like annoyed as well, because if you want, oh yeah, Sean Connery's the best Bond, then surely you're gonna have you're gonna want You Only Live Twice above, yeah.
Well, this is the thing though. You have to separate the Bonds from their films as well. Like I think, because
Yeah,
like
yeah.
like-
Well, that's what I'm doing as well.
you can literally have the best Bond, even if they're not in a good film.
In You Only Live
Still a good
Twice, you
Bond.
have like so many great things like the gyrocopter. You have Blofeld. You have really great ally.
I think
you have-
Blofeld. Yeah, I've like come to a realization that Blofeld's kind of an overrated villain in general. But
Yeah,
still.
you're just saying that to like drag it down.
No,
a
but
bit.
James even knows I talked to him about this beforehand as well. So
Yeah. I would maybe put it The Living Daylights. I'd maybe put it just above You Only Live Twice.
I mean, I'd agree on that. So
The Spy Love Me. Oh,
Yeah.
think about what you would.
the
what would
great,
you-
the
yeah.
greatest.
What would you take to the desert island?
Yeah, that
I'd
is
like
what I'm
to.
thinking
I'd
now.
like to say again.
But I would take A View to Kill to the Desert Island before these two. That's the other thing.
Spy,
so.
Spy Who Loved Me has so many pacing issues as well. They've scarcely gotten into the big tanker, and then it's
Yeah,
all
which is
falling.
why. Which is
There's,
why I
it's
think we
all
should
it's
put
all
this above it.
falling apart, and then there's no
What's
like.
above The Spy Love Me?
Moonraker. Do you think it goes below Moonraker and above Spy Love Me?
Yeah, maybe. Oh,
Final
I don't know, man. This is really difficult.
Oh man, there's so much to love in this film though. Like, and
There's not
like seriously,
so
other than
much.
this,
There are
other
like
than like the 2 minute, even if
Spy
it's
Love Me is
2
very
minutes,
entertaining.
like where would you like what other sagging issues like in pacing do you think this has?
it has like a
Yeah, maybe I
plot
would put
that's-
this just above The Spy Love Me, actually. Yeah, yeah, and below Moonraker.
All right, yeah, I'll take that. So
I know you will, yeah, but I want to make. What do you think, Tom? Like, I don't know. I'm not particularly. I feel bad because I'm not that sure on it, and I'm basically having the casting vote here. But
I'm not hating it either though. It's just like I don't think as I said, I've always been undecided on it. But
yeah,
like
yeah, same. It's complex, but I think that's a pretty fair ranking. I think.
yeah, put it over there.
Yeah.
imagine how good this would have been if it had like a fantastic villain, but the
It would
living
have been yeah. It would have
daylights.
better.
Yeah.
So it's fifth, below Moonraker, but above The Spy Love Me. And I think that's a fair spot, personally. So
I think it's quite generous, honestly.
I would
but,
personally put it even higher, but still.
I know. I think we've been quite kind to it for that reason.
Man,
And
look,
it is a good
in
film. It's
terms
not like it's a
in
bad
terms
film. We're
of-
not like giving it
Henry-
more.
In terms
Henry
of our,
would-
like our unfair favorites, Tom, you've got yours at third. James, you got yours at fourth. I got mine at fifth. You know, like let's be real.
You
What's
got
mine at
no.
fourth?
Your favorite is
Moonraker.
flipping.
Skyfall's my favorite Bond film.
Yeah, I know. I
And-
mean, it's in terms of like the ones that you really like that no one else does. Like, because people hate
Well,
Moonraker.
no,
They
if you
hate
want a Bond
Octopussy.
film that I like that no one else does, that's Die Another Day.
Or a View
Yeah,
to a
that's true,
Kill.
but still, like you tend to like the ones that people don't like.
Or like
That's-
I mean, we all do actually. I think.
No, that's not true. I love Die Another Day. I've always loved that one.
Yeah, I know, but like everyone hates Die Another Day. A lot of people
Exactly.
hate Moonraker. A lot
Die
of
Another
people.
Day is probably the most hated on Bond film, man. You do realize that.
Yeah, I know, and also like loads of people. I mean, Tom, you also like Octopussy. That's like one of the lowest rated ones, and this like no one even talks about it. So like,
Yeah, I know.
But
and
Octopus is
about, like,
great. Octopus is genuinely great.
you're
That's-
saying like these are all generous, but like this is generous.
No, Octopus is far better than the Living Daylights. That's for sure. For sure. Like I'm very like
There's nothing boring in Octopus. It's pure entertainment. So
yeah.
like,
Yeah, no,
Octopus
but
is
pure
great.
entertainment versus a well-written plot. You know,
Octopus is
it
third,
is
right?
well written though.
Yeah.
The thing is with Living
Yeah.
Daylights, there's like they're dealing with diamonds, opium, and
Yeah,
like
there's a bit
and
too
you
much
just got
going
you got
on.
to engage your like 500 IQ brain. You know, like
No. I agree with Tom. Like, but
I love the whole
Octopus is third, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah, that's fair. That's good. Okay. Well, anyway, let's wrap this up for this week. Next week we'll be doing License to Kill,
Yeah.
and yeah. In the meantime, put us a nice review on Spotify or wherever you're listening, and we'll be back same bat time, same bat channel.